Buff Nation, what up? BWB, my bandwagon buffs. How y'all feeling? It's Wednesday, game week, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We play Baylor University. Baylor is a formidable opponent. This is going to be our best test for the season. There's a lot of reasons why Baylor is going to be the best test for Colorado so far in the season. Well, we're entering the Big 12 play with Baylor, and Baylor has a lot of upsides on offense, not as much upsides on the defense, but they are formidable of what they can do. They have done it against several teams that will put them in a category where that'll put them in a category that says Colorado needs to pay attention to key moments in this game. So I'm going to talk about that in this video. We're previewing Baylor. We're looking at Baylor. I got a little bit of help from Baylor's athletics. We got a podcast. I got a podcast that's going to help me out to talk about the key moments that we need to look at, that Colorado needs to look at, and that we need to be looking forward to when Colorado plays Baylor. We're talking about all of that in this here live. And I just want to let you know, guys, I am streaming on 2 different channels. I am streaming on my Billionaires Mindset channel. So if you're over there, I say salute to you. That is my polysocial channel. It's where I talk about politics and social and everything else in between that is not sports. I talk about it over there. And I'm just going to put that in the chat so you can see that Billionaires Mindset. You can see how I spell it. So right there, that's where I talk about everything other than college football. All right, so what do we need to look for when we play Baylor? Colorado is making improvements. Colorado's schedule is 2-1. That's pretty good. Now, as if you listen to the pundits prior to, I guess, preseason, Colorado was pretty much supposed to, the way that last year 2023 shaped out, Colorado is supposed to be 3-0 going into Baylor. And then from Baylor, it's supposed to be about 4-0 because Baylor is not that great of a team. Not yet, at least. They're trending upwards, but they're not that great of a team. So they're supposed to be 4-0. Preseason, I said, JB, what up with you? Hope all is well. Preseason, I said that Colorado was going to be losing one of these games that it's supposed to lose. Now, I didn't know it was going to be Nebraska because the way that we dominated Nebraska last year, the indicators were there that we were supposed to at least be competitive in the Nebraska game. Nebraska is not supposed to be our Oregon. Not at all. Nobody knew that Nebraska was going to come up here and show up like Oregon. We had no answers. Shador being sacked 6 times. There were so many things going on in that game, and we literally had no answers for Nebraska. You can't explain that. Nobody can explain that. You can't predict that. To go into a Nebraska game where you have no answers, especially when you beat them the year prior, what happened there? Who can you point the finger at? Because that's unacceptable. To play a team that the year prior you beat, and then you revamp your team. With the revamping of your team, you got some better players. At least we were told we got a better O-line, and we were supposed to go in that game and be competitive. We didn't necessarily, if we lost, we lost. But we had to be competitive. Our offensive line is supposed to protect Shador a little bit more than 6 sacks, right? Because we have DT2, don't touch 2. So we're supposed to be competitive. I felt like Nebraska gave us the business and we were not able to be competitive. So we lost that game. That was never going to be on anybody's list. Nobody was going to ever be able to predict Nebraska punishing Colorado the way they did. It did not show on the scoreboard, but I guarantee you, it felt like Oregon if you watched the game. It was frustrating because after that game, the conversation, it left a lot of people just wondering what is going on with this team. Here we go again. It left a really bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and you had that weird feeling in your stomach, and you didn't know where to turn for answers. Because all of the analyzations, all of the prescriptions that we have for the preseasons and how we were going to be able to proceed as far as a team, having a better defense, having a better O-line, and all of those things, it made it difficult to watch that game. So it was very difficult because I felt like, it was just like Colorado needed answers and they couldn't find it. And the only hope that we had was the fact that Robert Livingston was able to show up into that game and did what he did. Without Robert Livingston, it was very difficult for Colorado to do anything. So that was the little shining glimpse of hope that we had in that game, is that, oh, okay, our defense is pretty nice. Okay, our defense can hold a pretty nice offense. And a nice offense doesn't mean like you got a superstar on there like a Cam Ward or a Shedeur Sanders or anything like that. A pretty nice, excuse me, guys. A pretty nice offense is just having a decent quarterback that can protect the football, throw it where it needs to be thrown. Usually that's what you need. You feel me? So it's like, if we face a team that has a nice offense and then their offensive line can run the ball, can make room for their running backs to run that ball, is our defense able to handle an offense like that? Because you're going to get that in the Big 12 play. You're going to get the Big 12 offenses are good offenses. Let me not say really good. Are good offenses, are functional offenses that are going to do the normal things that you do to win football games. The coaches are going to be very solid, all right? The coaches are going to be solid. They're going to be making solid decisions, and they're going to be all of the teams are run-first teams. Like they don't have a Shedeur that has an arm like that, and their mindset is, oh, this is our bread and butter, and we're just going to use that like some people use the run. No, when you get to Big 12 play, these teams are very well-balanced teams. So their nights are going to look like games are going to look like 100-plus yard games, all right? And they are committed to running the ball, whether it works or not. The Big 12 teams are committed to running that ball. They don't care either way. They know that it's not going to work 100% of the times, but the contrast to these Big 12 teams to Colorado is that their mindset is, we know that we got to run the ball in order for other things to work. And they are very well balanced. So that can wear on the teams mentally. At the end of the day, teams are going to, once they do what they know to do, like the normal things that they do, right? Once they do that and it's working for them, or they pick up steam by the third quarter and it starts to work, they start busting. You saw in the CSU game when they just kept running. And then eventually in the fourth quarter, boom, one of them opened up, boom, got like a 35-some yards or something like that. It was a big one. And then they were able to, like, the offense was able to finish off and then just score. So teams are really built like that. They're going to keep running that ball. They're going to keep doing everything they're going to do. Their game plan is going to be, let's play balanced football. We're going to run at least 2 or 3 times in one quarter, in a one drive, and we're going to keep trying it. If Colorado has a good defense, Dave Aranda, he's going to try to exploit that. All right. So there are going to be very key moments and key things that we need to look at for Colorado's success or not success, losing this game. But this team, Baylor, is pretty similar to Colorado. Now, like I told y'all, I got some help. All right. And I got a podcast. These guys are going to be, they're talking about is Baylor athletics. They know Baylor pretty well, and they know they know Baylor like I know Colorado. So they're having a conversation, And then, you know what I'm saying, they're breaking down certain things, and I'm like, okay, so let me, this conversation is pretty nice. Let's listen to their conversations. I'm gonna react sort of like to the conversations. And just to let you know, guys, the email calling is right there on your screen. Join tplive@gmail.com. Join tplive@gmail.com. Life has been lifing. Guys, that's why you don't see me on Monday Night Football anymore. Monday night anymore. We're not going to be doing the Monday nights because I don't want to compete with the NFL. All right, so we're gonna scrap that. Tuesdays, I gotta pretty much we got football practice, so I may or may not move Monday night to Tuesday nights. I believe it's possibly going to be on this day. This is Wednesday. It's going to be Wednesday, but Wednesday nights because life is lifing right now, all right? And I got to adjust my schedule. So what I got to do is I'm either going to move this show not in the afternoons, but like I'm going to be doing all the shows that they got to move to nights, all right? I got football practice. I got a lot of things going on right now. Kids doing a lot right now, guys. It's a new year and new challenges that has come up. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to move the Monday night show to either Tuesday nights or I'm going to move it to Wednesday night. So instead of me having it in the afternoon, about 7 o'clock, you'll be seeing me either on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm going to try it on Tuesday. I don't want my wife to be like the only person taking my son to football practice. So maybe it'd be a situation where I take him and then I come back and then she'll pick him up, but we'll talk about that. So it's either going to be Wednesday, Tuesday, or Wednesday nights, and then I'm going to be doing a Friday night show. All right. So we're going to be doing a Friday night show. Obviously, if a game falls on Friday, then we're not going to do Friday night. But Friday nights right before the game days, we're going to be doing Friday nights. Okay. So I do appreciate your support and everybody always coming up. I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. My schedule is changing because life is doing that thing that life does, and you gotta flow with it. All right, but guys, join TLP Live. I'm about to get into the nitty-gritty of the show. I'm about to break down the different things that we're going to be talking about. I'm pretty much going to be going with the conversation that's happening on this podcast. We're going to be kind of like, using their podcast and their talking points, and we're going to talk if they make a point, we'll discuss the point. Excuse me. I just drank coffee. I'm kind of burpy. Join tplive@gmail.com. It is the email address for you to call in. I'm going to be talking about the different topics. Some of the topics I'm going to be talking about. We'll be talking about CU's run game, contrast to Baylor's run game, stopping the run on defense, stopping the pass. We're going to be talking about those different things, how we fare out with Baylor. Baylor has a lot of key points that we're going to be talking about. So we're about to jump into that. So if you want to join the conversation, guys, join tplive@gmail.com. For all of the people that have ever emailed me, I don't spam them, email or nothing like that. They know they can always contact me. I don't really send them no email unless some weird things happen. So, okay. So here we go, guys. Let's jump into it. Please write down that email, guys. Join tplive@gmail. I'm going to be taking that off my screen because I need to share the screen so that I can't have that on the screen. So here we go. Let's join the conversation as they are having it. And then we will kind of like piggyback on what they're saying and doing. So let's go. All right.
Or what Colorado fans can expect to see from Baylor this week?
This is going to be a crazy environment. I mean, this is also Colorado's first Big 12 game. So, I mean, there's a lot of intrigue to this. There's going to be a lot of fanfare, a lot of lead up that I think will be really cool. To get a primetime game is awesome. As Aranda alluded to today, they're getting this primetime matchup because of Deion Sanders and because of Colorado. And that's great. It's great for the conference, great for Baylor also to be on, nationally televised game in that late window. It's really, really cool. So I think in general, this is a game where I think we're still trying to figure out both of these teams. I think there are some signs of, growth probably on both sides to a certain extent. But I do think they also both have clear kind of deficiencies in ways that the other can maybe take advantage of them, or at least question marks that we have about both of them going into this game. But lots of star power, of course, on the Colorado side. They have two guys who are probably going to.
So, yeah, so Colorado is a blessing for a lot of teams. Just off the top, Colorado is a blessing for a lot of teams. Whenever a team, I can tell you, like, even when you can take it to your highest level teams. Now, maybe not the highest level teams, because some teams are so big that they're in college. Like, there are like the staple of college football, like your Georgias, your Alabamas, the LSUs, and the Ohio States. They have their own built-in, fan base that's going to like surpass anything. But there's a lot of teams that fall below that standard, that they want the viewership. All right, you can compare Colorado's poll when it comes to eyeballs to those top teams that I just said, to the Georgias, to the Alabamas, to the LSUs. Like, Colorado is much CTV. Now, when they're winning is a lot better, obviously. When they're losing is not that great. So Colorado has this built-in, hey, let's see what Colorado's doing today. Whether it's going to be whether it's like it's a bunch of people watching to see Colorado fail, or it's just a bunch of people that just watching it just because we have such a big, strong fan base. Like the BWB, the bandwagon buffs. There's a lot of bandwagon buffs that are here because Colorado is excited. How many Colorado videos did you watch this week? You probably didn't see none from me because, like I said, my schedule is doing this thing right now, and I'm going to get back into the flow of things, and I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate the Big 12. As I figure that out, you can tell me, like, you've watched Colorado videos. When you see Colorado videos, some of y'all have, kind of drawn back from actually watching Colorado content. But for the most part, when you see it, some of y'all still clicking on those videos, and they're still getting a lot of views. So I know I click on a few of them when I'm in between schedules trying to do things. But Colorado's draw is still there. Nobody can deny that Colorado's draw is still there. And the Big 12 teams are not. The Big 12 is not the biggest conference in college football. You got the SEC, then you got Big 10, and then the Big 12. All right. Now, I think if I heard it right this not too long ago, somebody in the media actually said that the Big 12 was number 2. Somebody said that it was the SEC and then the Big 12. I mean, I don't know how that really goes, to tell you the truth, because the firepower in the Big 10 is almost like the SEC. So I don't know if I really agree with that, but I think they were coming from the standpoint of the numbers. So, but yeah, any Big 12 teams playing Colorado is a blessing. So I think Colorado then comes to, like, most teams playing Colorado for numbers sake. I think it's always going to be that. I think it's always going to be Colorado is like a big draw for a lot of people. So when Shador made that comment, like, hey, we are the Super Bowl for a lot of teams. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you look at it and you're looking at the fact that a lot of teams are going to be on national television when they play Colorado. A lot of people are watching. So some people can become, they can become household names depending on what you do in this game. So if you're not hurt and you come and you show up and you play, just like number 13, we will never forget, from Stanford. I don't know his name because I don't remember his name, but I remember the number. He gave us he gave us a problem. So just like number 13 for the Stanford game, if you show up at a Colorado game and you do well, people are going to remember you, just because a lot of people are watching these games. All right. So that's the first thing. Let me go to CU is going to have to stop. CU is going to have to run the ball. Let's talk about the CU's running game. Is CU's running game, are we satisfied with what we saw with CSU and the fact that we had some success with the run? Or do we feel like we pressured Colorado to running the ball? Because there's one thing that we have to, there's several ways to look at this. With Nebraska, the offensive line could not move anybody for us to run the ball. With CSU, the offensive line could move CSU's defensive line for us to run. So how are we looking at this? Are we excited for what we saw with CSU? In part, you have to be excited. Number one, thank God they ran the ball. I'm so excited that we ran the ball. That's a positive takeaway. We take that away and say, okay, we ran the ball. So, but what did we prove? What did running the ball with CSU prove? It could be several ways to look at that as well. Number one, are we comparing CSU's defensive line getting to Shador to the teams like NDSU and Nebraska that gave us a hard time? Their linebackers, their defensive line, how do you compare those? So because when they're telling us and they're saying, hey, we couldn't run the ball because we don't have the capability, we don't have the line to run the ball, so that's why we got to keep throwing. So if it works against CSU, then you gotta question yourself and say, okay, well, hold on now. So if it works against CSU, then that means that there's something there that we need to explore. Something is there that we need to explore, and we need to look at it a little bit further. What do these guys say about that? Let's look at it. Let's listen into what they say about that.
Of this particular team. Now, Colorado's high-end potential might be greater because of the guys that they had, the guys they currently have on campus that were previous transfers in previous classes. But right now, you just feel like Baylor stuff's kind of coming together a little bit more quickly for this particular team. And that starts, you mentioned the skill position players, the receivers specifically, Sanders at quarterback. But I think where another similarity between both of the teams is that after the most recent game, against Colorado State, at Colorado State, and Baylor versus Air Force, I've been reading quite a bit, and there was some optimism for Colorado's standpoint that they felt better about their running game. We know how what Baylor did against Air Force with 230 yards on 38 carries. Colorado only had 19 carries for 109 yards, which I found was interesting. While expressing optimism, I guess by comparison, that is pretty good for what they've done for the rest of the season. So both teams are looking for a running game. They need that to get going. Baylor found theirs a little bit more against Air Force, but there is optimism for Colorado in their run game coming off that game against Colorado State.
So Colorado State's not a good football team. They're just not. I think according to every metric, they're outside the top 110. Now, so is Air Force. So both those teams squarely bad. I think we can probably say at this time. And so for Colorado to be talking a lot about going 19 for 109 yards is pretty interesting. I really don't see that as being some sort of consistent trend that they're really able to run the ball at a high level. I mean, against North Dakota State, they were 23 for 59 yards, and against Nebraska, they had 22 carries for 16 yards. So I think Baylor is much closer to being Nebraska than the other two teams that they played. I think in general, Baylor is at a point where, you kind of look at them and you go, okay, where's the strength of the defense up front with.
All right. So that's the point that we need to look at. We need to look at the quality that we got from the run. Is CSU a good sample size for us to evaluate Baylor? I don't know. Because we got an NDSU team that we could not run the ball on. We couldn't run the ball on Nebraska. And CSU, we were able to get some yards. Now, the thing about the run is that you got to be consistent with the run. The run is like a muscle that you have to train for it to work. There's not, the muscle is not strong in the back of your legs, and that muscle doesn't look strong. There are exercises that you can do to get that muscle strong. So Colorado has to find a way to continue to grow that muscle, continue to strengthen that muscle. I would tell you we missed a big opportunity. I was very disappointed in at the end of that, the last 9 minutes of the CSU game, because I feel like that was an opportunity for us to build that muscle up. All right. Now Colorado has their game plan. They're going to execute their game plan. That's fine with me. I don't have no issue with Colorado's game plan if that's what they say they want to do and that's the best thing they can do. That's fine. But me as an analyst, I'm looking at it from a different standpoint. I'm looking at it as to where we were complaining about the run. So when we're given the gift, when somebody hands you a gift, you want to take the gift, right? We're up 28-9, and in that game with 9 minutes left, I mean, you can take out your starters or you can keep them in. If you want to keep them in, then let's work on things now. This is the opportunity for us to work on things that we were not able to work on with other teams because we didn't have the opportunity. They were just so much bigger and so much faster. So that gift that we were handed, we said no. We smacked the person's hands and we said, no, we don't want your gift. Get the heck out of here. We don't want that gift. That's an issue for me. I feel like, okay, you got the gift. You saw that you can run the ball. So use the gift and let's work on that muscle. Let's get that muscle going. Let's try our running backs and let's see what they can do. Let's get their confidence up. Let's get them working. Let's get their mechanics working. CU's running backs can run against CU's defense, which is not too bad, right? But CU's running backs need to be in real game situations where we can run on other teams and see what they're doing, how they're doing it, right? So the more we do it, the more confidence we have. So that gift for 9 minutes, we should have used that gift and work on our running game. We didn't do that. We ran the ball. So we lost that gift. That's fine. But if CU get caught in a situation where the run game is not working at all, are we going to be committed to the run? This is the problem. Are we going to be committed to the run? As you just heard these gentlemen say, because I don't know Baylor like they know Baylor, so that's why I pull up their tape or their information, right? And they're helping me to have this conversation. If CU has an opportunity to run the ball, Baylor's going to run this ball. They just said that Baylor is more closely, aligned with Nebraska's run scheme or run game. All right, they're going to run the ball. All right, so they're not like the other two teams. They're more so like Nebraska. Now, we did have some issues stopping the run with Nebraska. Some issues, not all of it, because our defense is pretty solid. So Colorado's going to have to decide in the beginning, in that game plan this week, when we catch Baylor, Colorado has to decide, all right, this is how much we're going to run the ball regardless of. Because Colorado gets spooked for some odd reason. As soon as the pass, like the same the approach that they have for the passing game, the approach that they have for the passing game is not the same approach for the run game. Because the run is abandoned if it doesn't work. But if the pass is not working either, it's not abandoned. And I've said that here before, and I'm like, well, that's kind of weird, right? As a fan, you're sitting back and you're like, well, you tell us that the run is not working, but what happens if the pass is not working? You don't abandon that and go back to the run to see if that'll work. So then it's like either run or don't run. But the idea is because Shedeur is such a weapon and we have so many weapons on the offensive line in Shepard, Jimmy Horn, Travis Hunter, LeJounte. We have so many weapons, and then we can also incorporate the running backs with the run game, with the pass game as well. So even if that's not working, the idea is that if that doesn't work, it's not the same as the run not working, because we know that we can keep doing the pass and it'll eventually work. So we're going to have to live with that. I think as CU fans, we're going to have to come to a place where we say, okay, fine. We're good with that. That's our bread and butter. That's all we got. So y'all just going to keep working that until it works. So how many of y'all in the chat are willing to live with that? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, are y'all okay with that? If the run doesn't work, keep working it, because we know at least eventually it'll work. What happens if they start getting to Shedeur faster and quicker and start to just shovel him? What happens then? Are y'all living with that or no? I want to know. Let me see what y'all are saying here in the chat. I don't want to ignore your surfer boy. What up, Chad? What up with you? Viral Authority, what up with you? After the game, what's up with you? Hope all is well. Y'all man said it still didn't run enough. That's how I felt about it. Now, they ran the ball, and we would take that. We would take that all day. The fact that we got 100 yards rushing, we would take that. Was that enough? Was that enough to say, okay, they're committed to the run? I don't think so. I don't think that was enough, but we'll take what we got. All right. Triple cross. What up with you? Buffs for 180 on the ground against Baylor. Do I agree with that? Yeah, no. I'm sorry, Triple. Yeah, I don't agree with Buff 180. We're gonna learn a little bit later that Baylor's secondary is not that great. Like, there's one thing they talk about at Baylor, the talking heads for Baylor, they talk about Baylor's secondary not being that great. So I think what's going to happen in this game is that Coach Prime is going to smell blood because Baylor's secondary is not as good, right? So Coach Prime and his staff are going to smell blood, and they're going to give the go ahead to Shador, and he's going to air it out. And I feel like we're going to abandon the run. Once we smell blood with the passing game, we get tunnel vision, and then we stop running. So because it's really hard to make an argument when the pass is working to run. You feel me? I feel bad for these running backs that we got, but yeah, I mean, it's really hard to say, oh my gosh, run the ball when they're throwing 80-yard bombs and they happen to catch them. So yeah, that's part is it's a frustrating thing to be a Colorado fan because you know you have a bread and butter that works, but it's not balanced football. Because when you meet the teams that can actually stop that bomb, then you get into trouble, but you haven't worked the muscle for the run game enough for you to rely on it. So you got to keep trying the same thing that's not working. You got to keep trying it. And as a Colorado fan, it's very frustrating for you and for me too. So yeah, but it's hard, man. All right. See, Chad says CU has talent. Chad says CU has talent. It's just really hard to get all pieces moving in the same direction in such a short period of time. I agree with that, Chad. I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, Coach Prime has a lot on his hands. You got a lot. You got the whole new team, right? The whole new, almost a whole new defense. There's a whole new, almost everything. So, and you have to manage everything all at once, and then you're thinking about making the fan base happy. So yeah, it is tough. It's definitely tough. So let's listen to the Baylor's coach and see what he got to say real quick before we go back to these guys with their analysis. I like what they're doing. I like what they're saying, but let's listen to what the Baylor coach had to say. I'm sorry. Hold up. This is a snippet. Give me a second. This is a snippet. It's not like the whole interview. So let me just play a snippet of what he's saying. All right, so let's play this.
Next week. A lot of work to do for this next week. A lot of respect for our opponent, the skill they have, the improved line of scrimmage play. It's a team that looks like they're trending up, and it's going to be a tough environment for us. A lot of positives for us in this game too, but it's going to take our best.
For those of you who know Dave Aranda, like monotone, real soft spoken. Rakim 777, what up with you? Scoop Brooklyn, what it do, my homie? Hey, Ron Tate, what's up, man? Pull up. Y'all can pull up. You know what I'm saying? Join tuplive@gmail.com. Y'all pull up and have a conversation with me. But I'm fully equipped and ready to go. So if y'all don't want to pull up and it's kind of a weird schedule for y'all, I understand. I get it. But I came prepared to do this show by myself because I knew that, it was a weird time for everybody, for my normal guys. So, but this guy's kind of like monotone and, yeah, I mean, he's had some good success, but it's been kind of rough for him lately. So let's listen in.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect offensively for what they do. Quarterback makes some.
If y'all know, like there's these memes that's going on with the NFL now. Like I don't know who's doing it, but I see these memes where these guys are like putting words in these NFL guys' mouths, and like they come in and they say stuff like, "Yo, I know I'm a terrible quarterback. I don't know why they gave me the money that they gave me, but you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna turn down no money." And it just feels like these guys are actually saying that. So I hope this is not a meme. It feels a little meme-ish, but oh man. Hey Tim, you send me the message? Oh, okay, let me see. All right, I gotta update my okay. Oh, here it goes. Oh, you guys, oh dang. You see, it's not me, yo. It's the email. The email, I got it open so I can pull it up, but the email is sitting here and it doesn't refresh. Thanks for letting me know that you send the message. I appreciate it. All right, Ron Tate. I got you too. I got you, Ron Tate. I got you, brother. I know you want to come on here and defend CU. All right, let's listen to this guy.
Really hard throws. If he knows what you're in, he eats you up. And then I think the skill is such to where you can only double cover so many people. You can see the talking and the communication up front where they're able to hold off, and then you're getting, quarterbacks stepping in, taking hits as he's getting the ball out, and just like it's that's a whole NFL thing right there. And so I have a lot of respect, and it's going to take our best. I have a lot of respect for him. I think the energy and notoriety and the juice that he's brought to that program, I think he's doing a great job. I have a lot of respect for him.
I like this guy, but dang, monotone, like, so the fans got to deal with that? My goodness. It's like a contrast from Prime, and he's a little bit more humbler a version of Prime, but Lord, I would be bored out of my life listening to this guy. Are you kidding me? I'll be like, hey, say something bad. I don't care, like anything. Oh my Lord, this is bad. It's my first time listening to this guy, but this is, man, I'll be like, huh? What did he say? Huh? What? Lord have mercy. Tim, what up, man? How you doing today, brother? Thank you for calling. I appreciate you.
What's up, Harry, man? I'm doing good, man. How about yourself, brother?
I'm good, man. Are you familiar with Dave Aranda? Like this guy, he's a sleeper. My Lord.
Yeah, I think he don't want to get into all that extra that everybody else does. Kind of like North Dakota State head coach. He didn't really get into all that extra, man. But Nebraska, we already knew. We faced them last season.
Yeah.
And CSU the same way because we faced them last season.
Man. All right, let's bring on Ron Tate. Ron Tate, what up with you, brother?
Hey, what's up, Harry, man? You popping up everywhere, man. Goodness gracious.
I got life is life, and like I said, man, life is life, and then I gotta do what I gotta do to try to keep the show going. You feel me?
That's right. That's right, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey, listen, I wanted to comment on what you were talking about with the run game and the passing game, if you don't mind.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
I think Coach Prime has an excellent problem.
Oh, okay. I like what you're about to say. I like how you framed this. Go ahead.
With the opening of the running game, now we know that CU puts effort into the running game, then they could be successful. And the passing game is prolific. So we know we have that, and we have a running game coming. And you think about Tom Brady in the NFL. He was a great passer. He was a great general of the game. But each time he won, he had a good to great, a good or better than average run game along with the passing. So I think this is a good problem that we're talking about with CU right now. We're anxious because we can see it. Come on, incorporate that run game and make this team unstoppable. Georgia and Alabama do it all the time.
Hey, can I say something real quick to what Ron's talking about?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say also, like, to the guy's statement on that from Baylor, he stated that Baylor's defense is similar to Nebraska. I find that to be kind of a lie because they're not Nebraska's defense.
He said, "You lie."
Yeah, he lied, straight up lied. Because and then he stated also that because I mean that we stated that Air Force is trash this season. I mean that's just point blank period. But Baylor gave up 193 yards in rushing to Air Force. So we showcase that we can run the ball. We got over 100 yards rushing. I stated that on Friday too. When we was asked that question. So they're gonna have to prepare for the run. But Baylor also likes to flood the line of scrimmage. But CU is gonna spread them out wide. Air Force didn't do that. So, and then I feel like CU need to run a hurry up offense as well, playing up there in Colorado. Baylor has a lot of Texas guys. They're not used to that. So
yeah, we're gonna get into that Baylor's secondary in a moment.
Okay, go ahead.
So let me bring on Warren G, and then we can get into the Baylor's defense and how the defenses compare. Hey, Warren G, what up with you, my guy? Thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you, man.
Man, Harry B, what's good with you, man? Salute, one love. Thank you, man, for allowing me to get on your platform, brother.
For
But
sure,
all
man.
those in the chat, please like, subscribe, and share this content. Let's get them algorithms up. You know what it is. You know what time it is. Let's get it. Let's go. How you doing, Harry, man?
All is well.
Pleasure, bro.
All right, so okay, so CU has proven that we can run the ball, Warren. But CU's identity is not in the run game. A lot of us fans, especially the ones that are kind of like football purists, we know that Colorado, running the football can give you leverages for the pass game. But Colorado, how do you feel when it comes to Colorado running the ball versus Colorado just doing what is working for them? Should we as fans be worried if it's working or not? Should we just leave it alone and say, look, the pass is working, let's just keep passing? Or should we balance this thing out?
I think we should wait until after the fourth game. This is that game, right?
When you say wait till after this game, what do you mean? Like wait and see, or hey, Shirley, how you doing?
So, well, let me say this. When we went 4-0. Hold on 1 minute. I'm gonna just give me one moment, okay, Harry, for a second, please.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know that we should be. Well, okay. So for me to answer the question, I would say if you're given opportunities, take the run. If you don't get opportunities, then do what works, right? Ron Tate, is that how you're seeing it? Like, I want to make sure that the fans have an understanding that, if it's not working, you can't do it. But if you got something that works,
Harry B,
yeah,
you there? You still with me?
Still with you, man.
I'll let him go, Harry, and then I'll chime in.
Go ahead, Warren. We can hear you.
Harry, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh man, I'm crispy. Okay, I'm back. I apologize for that.
All
so
good.
What I was saying was we was 4-8 last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't until I think game 5 that we actually started to notice that doing what we was doing and not having the run game didn't work. So right now it looks like they are making the changes as they go this year, which is showing that they are making a point to run the ball. Now, I agree with you. We're just our main thing, go-to bread and butter is the passing. We ain't finna deny that because we got one of the best quarterbacks in college football. So, and we trust him with the ball more times in his hand than not. So, we're not going to run as much as these other teams in our conference run, but we will run the ball to keep you honest. Now, whether we get 25 out of that, 3 yards out of that, or whether we get 100 yards each game for us to do that, and we still up by 21 points. Yeah, we can, that's just the way our makeup our team is. But then they're definitely going to be running the ball this year.
All right, so let me get so Ron Tay, what do you think? We should caution because a lot of us with the way we talk, we like, man, Coach Prime, you better do this. But should we back off and just let Prime do it the way Prime knows how to do it and just milk his built bread and butter, or should we keep talking, keep pressuring him?
Well, Harry, one thing for sure that Coach Prime knows, and we all know as fans, is that CU can throw the ball. So what we want to do is put our headlights on so we can see further down the road.
Okay.
And continue to massage the run game, because as competition increase, we're going to need that to keep a defense, secondary and front line, off balance. So we should continue to massage the run game and improve it no matter the competition. If we can throw every down on Baylor, we still need to work on our run game.
Yeah. Man, we missed that big opportunity with CSU, and we wasted that one. So hopefully we get some opportunities with Baylor, or we're going to have to make our own opportunity. What are your thoughts on that, Tim? Like, if it's working, you do it, or if it's not working, you still do it. What are your thoughts on that?
If it's not working, you still run the ball. You still attempt to run the ball. For the simple fact, like I've been saying all last week, you drop 8 because you drop 8, man. And if you got some linemen that can get to Shador, like Nebraska did, we'll be sitting in that same position. Against Nebraska, I felt like they should have. I would have ran a couple of draw plays the way they were coming up off the edges, but they didn't do so. But we know that they are a pass-heavy team. I'm not going to take that away from them because of the quarterback, the caliber of quarterback they got, the type of receivers that they have in their arsenal. So I would never take that away from them. But some of the teams that we're going to be facing, we're going to need to show that we are at least trying to run the ball. 100 yards against CSU is a start. If you go back and look at the overall team effort, they controlled the time of possession in that game, which is good.
Let's look at because Baylor's going to run the ball. So that's one thing that these guys are talking about. They're going to definitely run the ball. How are we going to be able to stop the run and then for CU to be in this game, because stopping the run it's been an issue. They're still getting big bombs on us. So let's listen in and then we can talk about that.
I think it's an area that Baylor holds a clear advantage as far as stopping the run. And then I'd also say, on the flip side, you mentioned Baylor getting back to running the ball. We saw Bryson Washington this week. We saw Dominic Richardson looking like he's at least getting closer to healthy. Maybe he'll take on a bigger role. I think Baylor holds a decent advantage there as well. Colorado is 82nd in run defense. They gave up a lot of, they've given up yards to pretty much everyone, but they gave up 149 yards to Nebraska, 4.3 yards per carry on the ground, 157 yards to North Dakota State, 3.7 yards on the ground, and then to Colorado State, 131 yards rushing and 4.2 yards per carry. So you look at that and you go, okay, well, maybe those teams run the football well, right? Well, Colorado State is 71st in the nation in rushing offense, and Nebraska is 57th. So pretty much in my eyes, the way that I look at this, there's no way Colorado's rushing for 100 yards on Baylor unless they just get some sort of 70-yard touchdown play or something like that. And then there's really no reason why Baylor shouldn't run for at least 150 yards on offense. And if you're telling me those two things going into the game, I would say that's a pretty clear advantage for Baylor heading into this contest. But that does lead me to say, but Baylor's got to play up to their level.
All right. So thoughts on that, and you can go first, Warren G.
Yeah, so listen, what I learned from the Nebraska game is this. I can't get the big head. We can't go in there getting big head. We can't go in there being starstruck and all of that. We got to be on purpose. We have to be focused. We have to be disciplined during the weeks the week prior. So, you know, and that's what the improvement that I can see is that they're making the adjustments each and every game. So I'm assuming what they take out of this game, they're going to make some adjustments that people think we should have been doing. And it looks like every time we say something the week prior, it looks like they're not falling on deaf ears. You know what I'm saying, Harry? The statements that you make, I don't think they falling on deaf ears. So
I don't think so either, brother. It feels like they be listening. I don't know what it is, but it feels like they be listening.
Yeah. So that's a good sign. To me, that's a good sign compared to last year. You feel me? So they're making the adjustments, and I'm gonna be sure that they're not gonna go in there half-stepping against Baylor. Like Baylor's this team that's just gonna come over and lay over. That's gonna lay down for them. They realize that they're getting the best of they're getting their best team, best. They're getting their best opponent at all times, and they got to be ready, prepared to do what it takes to make them adjustments to hide the flaws that people are pointing out. Make sure that look, we standing on all of that too. Don't think we just going back to the lab satisfied with what we're doing. We know we could do a lot better. The ceiling ain't capped at for us as well. It's not a cap on our ceiling either. Even though people try to put a cap on it, it's not a cap. And they've been coming out and producing and making the necessary changes from the linemen to making sure that they get the offensive line straight. The offensive line ain't gave up no sack
Let's
last game.
Let's 30 seconds so I can get other people in.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. My bad, bro. That's my spiel.
All right, Tim. So we got Baylor or Baylor's people saying that they have an advantage based on CU's characteristics of stopping the run. So how do you feel about that? Do you feel like they have the advantage on the run stop and then running the ball a little bit more than CU? Well, obviously we know teams are always going to have the advantage as far as running the ball until Coach Brown proves to us that he's really committed to the run. He started with CSU's, but as far as stopping the runs, what are your thoughts? That's you, Tim. I'm not sure we can hear you. We can't hear you. All right, Tim, we'll come back to you because we can't hear you. Ron Tate, what are your thoughts on that, please?
Well, I think it's like CU has a new toy now that they've been talking about and that they've seen window shopping. But now that they got their hands on it, now they need to learn how to operate it. And I think that's a disadvantage for other teams and an advantage for CU because they haven't seen how good CU can be. Neither have we in the run game. So I understand that the guy saying that they have a better run game at this time because CU just started with their new toy, the run game. And I would like to think that Livingston is going to do a lot better, which he has half by half, and from game to game, he continues to push that defense to start faster and do better. And whenever he sees a leak somewhere in the defense, he plugs that hole. And I think he's going to do the same thing this weekend and in dealing with Baylor's run game.
Tim, are you ready? Because your mic something was going on with your mic there. We couldn't hear you talking. So let me know if you're ready. But as far as like when it comes to CU's commitment to certain things, we know that the passing is going to be something that we already committed to. But do we with the big runs that are coming, Warren, with the big runs that CU has led through, giving up 400-something yards to NDSU, even though Livingston is like, he's like the shining little star in this whole CU thing. Do you see us being able to stop? Do you see us being able to stop Baylor's run? Because Baylor, obviously, they're going to have the advantage where they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball. But do you see us having like an advantage, or does Baylor have an advantage stopping us from running? Or do you think we can stop them from running?
I believe we can stop them from running. The only concern I have is the containment. If we can, so we didn't have to deal with that last game. It looks like we made those adjustments. Well, Nebraska's not really a quarterback that likes to run the ball. So this would be our time, our second chance to look at a quarterback and see how we fare against this quarterback that runs the ball a lot heavy too, and they like to run the ball too and do a lot of motions, because only Nebraska did us like that. So this will be that game to see if we can fill that hole, and if we can, oh yeah, everything else is working. The linebackers in this moving something, bro. And the corners, you got Travis on that end, so throwing the ball is kind of scary for a lot of teams messing with Travis back in that backfield. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we'll be able to stop the run.
All right. Hey, let's listen a little bit more. I believe this one is about CU's. I think you just kind of alluded to it, but CU's talent and compared to Baylor's talent. Let's listen in.
Kind of have the advantage in this area. Now, it's not direct. It's not Baylor's receivers versus Colorado's receivers, but they are similarities in the way these teams are built.
There are, to be clear, though, we are talking about a difference in NFL talent level. I think it's important to mention that. I mean, we're talking about Shedeur Sanders, who's going to be a top 10 pick, maybe the number 1 pick. We'll see. And then Travis Hunter, who's a consensus top 5 pick. Baylor doesn't have any guys like that. And so there is a huge difference there, just kind of talent. And I think that's important to mention. But I will say, I think the important thing when I kind of look through the numbers and things like that, as far as Colorado's passing attack, which is how they're going to try to win this game. It's how they're going to try to win pretty much every game this year. They might have a couple 100-yard rushing performances, but they want their best player to have the ball in his hands, and they want him to go make plays throwing the ball to their other best players. And so that's what they're going to do. Now, against Nebraska, that didn't work out. They only threw for 244 yards.
All right. So Tim, welcome back. How much does the talent, I guess the equivalent of the talent, NFL talent, how much does that really affect the game? And, is that going to matter? Or do you think, and Tim, if you're back, do you think that's going to matter, or is Baylor going to have an answer? Because I think it was Surfer Boy 3000 that says that the coach is an offensive minded coach. So regardless of who you have over there, this is what we've been talking about. Is like, hey man, hey guys, we know that we don't have the offensive line. If you saw those guys standing behind Shedeur, you're kind of concerned. You're like, these guys look like big linebackers. They don't look like offensive linemen, like those hogs that you see with Georgia, with Tennessee, with Texas. Those guys look like really big linebackers, right? So if we don't have that, then scheming has to come into to fruition. Is is Dave Aranda going to have the scheme to be able to stop those offensive guys, those NFL guys that they're talking about? Tim, if you're back.
I I don't know because the game hasn't been played, but
is he good enough to do you think he's good enough as a defensive minded coach? He's a head coach, but he's defensive minded, right? Is he, do you think he's going to dial something up to try to stop Shador from and Travis from doing what they naturally do?
I think they may try to dial something up to get pressure on him to disrupt him, just like Nebraska did. So that's coming. But it's how well our offensive line coaches are coaching our guys up to be prepared for that, and it depends on how well they watching film and studying Baylor after these last 3 games.
So Tim, hold on. We got triple cross or triple's been saying if Baylor is an issue, what about the rest of the season? So I think that's kind of like what we've been trying to talk about. Is I don't know that we can say.
I don't say that.
Right. I don't know if we can say that because look, you think about it like this. CSU is a terrible team, right?
Correct.
People have questions about CSU. NDSU is an FCS team.
Correct.
They're a really good FCS team, but nonetheless, they're FCS. Let's be frank here. And these guys, I know where, they're saying in here. NDSU is not that great this year. So I don't know if you can look at every game and look at a team's history and be like, either apply everything that they were able to do as great, or to say, oh, they were terrible before, and they should be terrible again.
I don't agree with that because anybody can get beat
any
given Saturday. Look at what just happened to Georgia. Georgia should have lost to Kentucky. And Kentucky almost
1 point game.
Yes. So I mean, look at anybody can get beat any given Saturday. So you can't look down the schedule and say, well, this team looks like this. They didn't look like this last season. You see what they brought back, but they still got to go out there and play the game on Saturday.
So let's point to a couple of outside games: Syracuse and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech and Florida State. And my point is this: any team. There are good teams in different conferences now. The talent within the Big 12, our talent, of course, I think we got better talent within the Big 12.
Where do you rank our talent in the Big 12? 16 teams. Where do we rank according to you?
We should be at least 5. They got us at 11. And we just said they got North Dakota State ranked ahead of us. They had CSU ranked ahead of us.
What do you mean ranked ahead of us? CSU is not in our conference.
As far as I'm sorry, what was it? NDSA, whatever. I'm sorry, North Dakota State. They had them ranked ahead of us.
No, North Dakota State is FCS.
Okay, so they're not conference, but so the teams
he's talking about Big 12 teams in the Big 12,
right?
So on the screen is the rest of the schedule. This is who we got left. We got Baylor.
So we're in our Big 12. We're playing in our Big 12, but they got us ranked
the rest of our schedule is Big 12.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna leave that argument alone because it's not even valid to this point. We're just debating. But our defense know that it's not the talent that wins games. Yeah, talent gets you to college football, but it's gonna be other stuff like being disciplined, game film. Our team preaches. We preaching something a lot different than we just think we finna beat them with talent. It comes down to technique and all that. Listen, we have like at least 4 top receivers that can go NFL. How you not use them? You not put them in the 4 wide. So the pressures that they're going to be feeling the pressures that we're feeling too, because they got to deal with 4 corners, and they got to have 4 corners ready to deal with them all night long. And on top of that, the game is going to be winning in what I would call the trenches. This is the game for the offensive line to answer and the defensive line to answer. This game. So let's just say that our special teams offset one another in different ways where they could get some scores. It's running in the trenches. And this is where we get to see whether our offensive line can stand up to their defense.
So, I mean, CU has several advantages and disadvantages in this game. Now, Baylor is committed to the run. CU is not committed to the run, but we do have to pass, and we have offensive powers that they do not have. So, CU has a clear advantage in this game. Now, we're going to talk a little bit later about who we think the best coaching, who's going to coach their team up a little better, because if you look at this, if you look at Baylor and how they've played so far, if you look at the thumbnail that I put up, they're both 2-1. All right, so they're 2-1, but talent-wise, CU should have the advantage overall talent-wise. All right, so CU has a slight advantage with talent. You know, if you want to say, okay, NFL talent, CU definitely has an advantage there. But let's take a listen about Baylor's secondary and see if CU has an advantage there, or how we can exploit that. Let's take a listen.
Is unproven, and I know I keep talking about it because they are, and there are opportunities, I think, for Colorado to end up with 6 sacks. Even bigger than that, they had 24 pressure against Colorado. That is, I mean, that number is crazy. And like you mentioned, they were really bringing, 4 guys. They dropped a lot of guys in coverage, and they were just getting after Sanders in those one-on-one matchups because Colorado's offensive line continues to have problems. So I think that's the key. Everyone keeps talking about, Baylor's secondary is unproven. And I know I keep talking about it because they are. And there are opportunities, I think, for Colorado to potentially expose them and take shots and create explosive plays. But if Baylor's pass rush is continuously getting in the backfield and making Sanders uncomfortable, that puts Baylor in a very good position. And I think as of right now, we feel like that could be a strength of Baylor's defense. But I would also say I don't think we know that quite yet. I think there's still a question there. And if there's a question there, and then there's also the question in the secondary, that's why this game is very intriguing, because frankly, it could go completely sideways on Baylor defensively in this game, or it could just be another statement that, they can defend multiple types of offenses, which bodes really well going forward in Big 12 play.
All right, so let's talk about that a little bit. We obviously know that Shedeur is capable of threading the ball and putting the ball where it needs to be put at. Lately, it's been a little weird for me. Like, Shedeur has been making these questionable passes, and it's been like, I don't know why did he do that? Like, why is he missing his targets? And I'm not used to him missing his targets. But that put aside, if Baylor has a questionable secondary and Shedeur is capable of killing you with that, and then they have a questionable pass rush, and then we start, run rush, rushing getting to the quarterback. How does that smell like an advantage? Because they're coming up, okay? They're getting better week by week. This is not November football. They're getting better week by week. But do we have the advantage, Ron? Is that what you're hearing this, or how are you hearing this?
Hey, Harry, even that, I would assume that those guys are Baylor fans that were speaking. Even
this
best.
This is Baylor athletics we're listening to.
Right. Their best case scenario, their team doing its absolute best, and it's iffy for them. Would they understand, or they're talking about, the pressure that was put, what they've seen this year put on Shedeur in the Nebraska game. They don't have the defensive line that Nebraska had.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked about the yardage that Shedeur passed for in the Nebraska game. I think that is definitely related to the pass rush and the guys not blocking well that game. So, you know, they got, either way you look at it, talent wise, CU across the board should have a very good game this year. I mean, this coming week against Baylor.
Have you seen? Have we grown? Give me an assessment. Have you seen CU grown from game 1 to game number 4 that you feel comfortable enough from an assessment of the games that we were able to win and not win? Do you see that our line has grown and you are willing to put your stamp and say, okay, what they have done up to this far, I believe we're good enough to be able to pull this off?
I can definitely say that.
Okay.
And not only that, I'll go as much as say that they rush for either at a minimum of 150 this game, and maybe even more than that.
So you're predicting we're going to rush for 150 yards this game?
I'm predicting that we're going to rush for at least 150 this game. Shedeur is going to be Shedeur.
Is that because their secondary is not as good, or because they're saying that their rush game is pretty decent? So what are you attributing to that?
I'm attributing to the advancement of our offensive line, and that their defensive line is not as good as Nebraska's.
Okay. They don't have those two big guys that were giving us a problem all night.
Oh, no.
Just like CSU did not have Kamara, right, to get in there. So if you don't have those definitive guys, then you're just playing us and what we got, and you trust our talent.
and Harry, I'm talking about where we are at this time,
right?
And I'm anticipating that the offense and the offensive line is going to continue to get better. You know, so when they start working as a cohesive unit, which they're not now, but I think they're getting there. I'm making my assessment on their level that they're playing at this time, and it has improved from game 1.
Hey Warren, are you seeing growth on that line, and you trust the line enough for you to be like, all right, I feel like September football, I've seen enough growth to say, okay, this Baylor game is going to be a good game to watch. We're not going to be anxious. We're going to see a really competitive game. Or do you see Nebraska? Do you see a potential Nebraska happening?
Man, Harry B, that was a great question. I love that question, man, because I was over here just trying to fight resistance to interfere with the conversation because I wanted to say something. The team, if you look at that last game, so if we look at Nebraska, if we keep looking at the sample that we displayed in Nebraska, there's always going to be a bunch of question marks. So I'm going to the next game where after we play I'm looking at the game at CSU and CU. Man, do you know that everybody on the offensive team was looking like they enjoyed blocking for the run? Like the team wanted them to run the ball. I mean, the whole from the line to the receivers, they was all. Did you see Jordan Seaton that game? They was all committed to the run. So with that being said, man, yes, and double yes, we could get that 150 yards because everybody was brought in for that. Because normally you have wide receivers that they go through the motion when they have to block. But no, these guys was up there blocking.
So you feel like everybody's excited now that we got a little glimpse of what the run game can do. You feel like there's enough excitement that they're actually going to commit to it. And if they call the run, they're going to try their best to try to keep that going because they know that if they don't block for the run, they ain't going to try it no more. It's like a case study. Like, hey, if you guys are willing to block for this run, we'll try it. But if y'all don't want it and you don't block for it, we ain't going to try it no more. Let me give this one to Tim. Tim, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's enough to, like what Warren G just said, that they're excited enough that they're going to bring whatever pressure they need to bring to this to stop the run so that we can continue doing it?
I don't know about as far as excitement, but I feel like they know that they're going to have to run the ball in order to win games.
No. Let me rephrase it. So,
Okay.
Warren G just said that he saw enough excitement in the eyes of the players to where they were motivated to run, to block, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like these guys, because they saw a little bit of success, you feel like that's enough, and they got enough of that, and that's going to carry over to this next game coming? You feel me? And like Gerald said, I saw some growth, but the only question is, can they repeat that growth? You know, do you think like that excitement is going to carry over or no?
I feel like the excitement is going to carry over. I agree with Warren on that point.
Okay.
150 yards though. I wouldn't say that just yet, but let's see how they go up against better athletes with Baylor this weekend. Um, but yeah, I agree with him on that point.
Ron, do you see that excitement going over? Like, do you see this excitement carrying over, or do you think Colorado's going to sink back? Oh, Ron had a jump, but I want to agree with y'all, but I'm also a little bit more skeptical nowadays. I don't know why, because again, I did not expect what happened in Nebraska to happen. I feel like, and Ron, I'm bringing you back on so you can answer if you can. But yes. I feel like this is going to be our Big 12 opponent. That they're not a bad team. They're not the greatest team. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are at the bottom of the Big 12. But if we, depending on how we play this team, it's going to recalibrate me. I feel like I need recalibrating because I was not expecting a gut feeling like Oregon, Ron, from Nebraska, and that messed me up. I know a lot of fans out there are messed up from that Nebraska game, and they need a recalibration. And I don't feel like CSU game was a recalibration. Your thoughts?
Well, I think this. I think the offensive and the defensive line got a wake up call on the FBS football in the Big 12, and this year at CU, and I don't think. I'm going to continue to lean on that from game one to this coming week, that the offensive line has gotten better, and they were enthusiastic. All of the guys. The one thing that the gentleman pointed out that I didn't notice, and it was the receivers blocking downfield. And one play that comes to my mind was Jimmy Horn. The way he had locked up. I mean, he did a great job blocking. One time he got a penalty, but it was like that the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm enthusiastic about that. And I think the offensive line, it gave them some encouragement to know that, hey, I'm starting for a reason. I was a 5-star, 4-star for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave them a wake-up call. Hey, yeah, I can do this thing here.
So that's, I mean, y'all can frown me in the comments all you want, but like I said, I follow this team very, very closely, and there are moments where the team shows up. Like, I don't know how many of y'all believe that Nebraska was going to do that to Colorado. I don't know how many of y'all first saw that coming. Nobody could have told me.
I didn't.
If somebody told me, oh, Nebraska going to be a problem for y'all, Shadour's going to get sacked 6 times. When we coming from DT2, don't touch 2, and we're selling T-shirts and the enthusiasm that we have, and then it's a rivalry game too, for Nebraska to shut us down like that. That feeling that you get inside of you, if you know this team as well as I do, there's no way you can heal from that in one game, and from a terrible team like CSU.
And it's a process for all of us, right? However, it's not what we do when we get knocked down; it's what we do when we get up. And I seen CU get hit in the face, smacked in the face by Nebraska, because that's again I had them going 10-2, and Nebraska was not in that loss column for me.
Right.
So and so I'm saying that to say this. Yeah, that's why I in the beginning of the show I said we should wait till after game 4.
Okay.
Because then we could get a true sample of what this team is really made of before we but because I'm on the bandwagon that I believe in what CU got, that we're a lot better team than a lot of the Big 12. I'm taking it from that point of view, and I like the changes that they make game from game. I wasn't getting that last year, and the improvements is not only in just schemes, it's been personnel, and I'm seeing how the personnel that they made changes for the CSU game. Man, I'm happy with what we got. I'm good.
What you said in the beginning, I wanna expound on that, because like you said, it's not what we do when we're knocked down, but what we do when we get up, right? So getting up and moving forward. CU did show a lot in CSU. Even though they were a lesser talent, CU showed that they were going to commit to that run, and they committed to it. And CU showed that they made some adjustments, even though I'm not sure. I was screaming still in the live game reaction. I was screaming about the offensive formations. We kept seeing 5 wide. And there was a few things that they were doing that I was like, oh, come on, guys, let's get a little bit more creative. Hopefully they do that this time. But yeah, so CU did show that we can play, and we can play a balanced football. Now, we got to show that with Baylor, because like Wild Dog says, Baylor is ahead of schedule on their rebuild, right? So they're also rebuilding, and they're coming up, and they're finding their voice. They're trying to get rid of that feeling that a lot of CU fans had going 4-11. I mean, 4-8. Sorry, 4-8. So Baylor is also doing the same thing. So it's important. It's very, very important that CU comes. That both teams, both sides of that game, the offense and the defense shows up at the same time. I cannot see CU playing from behind with this game. If CU comes out and try to play and give those guys confidence and try to play from behind, and they are a run committed team, they're going to eat the clock, and CU will not catch up. That's very important that CU comes out and try to keep these guys from getting too far ahead, because they don't play around with the clock and try to they're trying to score, so we're trying to score. They don't do that. They're going to control that clock, and CU would not get the ball back too many times to be able to catch up.
And I agree. I can concur that. But at the same time, they have to do the same thing, because once we get up, it's gonna be hard for you to run that ball and try to come back. And especially if our special teams place that ball inside your 10, and you got to come do that the whole game. And our defense is stingy too. We've been playing some stingy ball. I mean, the last 6 quarters, we only allowed 9 points.
That's the shining part of our game that I'm really excited for.
Yeah. So if we get up and they try to throw that ball, it's a wrap. It's a wrap when you try to throw that ball.
So let me ask this question: how many of y'all would say that you've been able to watch CU games just sitting back and just enjoying the competition? Tim, let me ask you this question. Answer this question: have you been able to say you can sit back? Like, I know you had a little bit of scare with your LSU. With LSU, I even emailed you. You didn't respond. But
yeah, I was in my feelings.
Are you able to sit back and say, all right, Colorado's competing. I don't care if we win or lose. I just like the fact that we're competing. If you were to evaluate all 3 games.
I like where they sitting at. I can agree with, I don't know if that was Run or Warren. I got them at 10-2. I did not have Nebraska beating them. I thought it was going to be a dog fight. But I do want to say this real quick. I did say if Colorado do not block, or able to block number 9 and number 0, it's going to be a long night for Shador. And that actually turned out to be true. But I'm excited, but I'm sitting back this year too. I'm sitting back and doing more of a lot of evaluating, more than just the excitement. I know they have the talent. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just seeing how they're utilizing their talent that they didn't bought in.
Let me go to let's talk about this right here. Let me go to this 16-24. Let's go here and let's talk about this a little bit. It's about Baylor facing the type of offense that Colorado has. Let's listen in.
Thomas and Raw Dilworth, who can run from the linebacker position. They didn't necessarily have that last year when they were chasing guys all over the field. And then up front, Baylor just has not faced a passing team this year. I mean, they truly haven't. You talk about Air Force, Utah wasn't willing to do it a lot. After Cam Rising went out, they just wanted to run the football. And obviously Tarleton State without their starting quarterback.
You're just playing the audio, correct?
Front from Baylor to get going. And that starts with the 3 down linemen, not just bringing secondary level blitzers, guys like Jackie Marshall. They're going to have to be disruptive whenever Shador's back there sitting in the pocket. They can't lose contain because he can still beat you in terms of getting out of the pockets and making throws. He's not going to beat you with his legs a ton, but they're going to have to keep him contained and make that pocket collapse around him. And there's guys in coverage. It's the same idea what Matt Rule did at Nebraska. Keep him contained, make him throw into small windows, get him on the ground when you can. And the offense just became completely limited when they faced Nebraska because of that. And it starts with not having a run game that you can rely on. So that's the way that you kind of eliminate those skill positions. And even to a great extent, Colorado State did it early in that game. They were at one point, Sanders was averaging like 5 yards per pass attempt. Everything was underneath. They were just controlling the explosive plays, and it kept Colorado State in that game probably longer than you would think based on the score. Colorado did separate, but the way that they kind of confined the Colorado offense early was encouraging. And truthfully, that's why Colorado probably ran the ball the way they did for 19 carries for 190 yards and became optimistic about it because Colorado State said, you can have that if you want it. We're just not going to beat deep.
All right, so how do y'all feel about that? Baylor has not faced the type of offense that CU has in the passing game. Is CU going to be able to, I guess, do what they're capable of? And has anybody watched Baylor enough to know that they got either linebackers or edge rushers, somebody that's going to interrupt? Is there anybody that's a shiny armor that you know about Baylor's defense that's going to be like a Kamara or number 0 or number 9 or whatever, the 90 or something like that? Do they have anybody that we can say, okay, this guy may give us a problem?
So
I haven't seen any. Not to stand out like Kamara did, or not to stand out like the Nebraska defensive line. I don't know a whole lot about Baylor. Only the one game that I was able to, the little bit of the Air Force game I was able to review. But I did not see someone that stood out on the defense that caught my eye right away.
Yes, I mean, and the Baylor guys are not saying it either. Basically, they're just saying, look, what Baylor has been able to do so far is do their thing with rebuilding. They're trying to see who's going to step up. They're still kind of like auditioning their talent to see who, what their identity is and who is who on that defensive line or on that offensive line. So this is an opportunity for CU. This is how I see it. Colorado is not like, some people would like to think that Colorado is just unstable or whatever, but Colorado is a team that can put a hurting on a lot of teams. The CSU score should have been more than 28. I'm telling you, that score, if you take a few drops and we catch that ball in the red zone, or we get to that red zone in Colorado, that score would have been ugly. So is this an advantage for CU, or because you got to play every team? You can't just you can't look at what they did or could not do against another team and say, oh my gosh, CU's really going to exploit that, because somebody might show up with Baylor and be like, I'm going to step up and I'm going to make sure I get Shador on the ground. So, Warren, is that an advantage with CU? The fact that they can't they haven't really faced a passing team like Colorado? Oh no.
So Baylor's advantage is this. The one thing that they can go to as for film study would be the first game that we had. Because Baylor likes to use a lot of motion, and they got a quarterback that will run the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the best thing. But what happens with that, it can lead to a false sense of security, like as though, okay, if we get them to do this, we'll be able to win this game. Because again, we won't know if we'll be able to how we'll play because we haven't played against a team yet that did what Nebraska did to us. This would be that first game for us, as far as defensive wise. Can we find ball, get ball, instead of waiting for the ball to get to us? Can we go get it when we see it? You know, and what I like about our team that we have an advantage at is the linebacker, that middle linebacker, Hill Green. That man is doing his thing.
Yeah,
And
Nakai
he's
Hill
making you
Green.
pay for it.
Nakai Hill Green has really stepped up. Now they're separating, like Bentley and Nakai Hill Green are separating themselves from that defense, and a lot of people are talking about them. And I know, like a couple of shows ago, we were talking about if coaching matters. Like if coaching, like if you look at what's transpired from last year to this year, it lets you know that coaching mattered, because I feel like Livingston is putting, and Ron, I'm coming to you for this one. Livingston is actually putting his guys in position to actually be their best. And it's actually looking like if they continue on this trajectory, those guys are going to get more confident, and Bentley might get an invitation. As weird as that sounds, Bentley and Nakai Hill Green are looking like NFL products. What is your thoughts on that, Ron? And then I come to you, Tim.
Harry, I know you came to me because I said unequivocally last year that I could not stand Bentley.
I know.
And so
I couldn't stand him either because I couldn't trust him. But he's winning this year. Like, people are talking about him.
Listen, he's making – now, you know, I watched Bentley intently, and he's made, I know for a fact, one bonehead play, but he is overcome by making big plays, and doing a great job. So I kind of like Bentley this year so far.
He kind of like, and you're not going to commit all the way.
I'm not committing yet. I'm not committing yet. I kind of like Bentley this year so far. He's showing some improvement.
Ron, his confidence is growing, man. Game after game, his confidence is growing.
Hey, man, listen, they are really buying into what Livingston is selling. They are really buying into it.
Yes.
And they are continuing to grow and getting better. And I'm hoping that continues as the season goes on. Because I remember Saban talking about that and how the maturation of an offensive line and a defense, it grows throughout the year until you peak at the right time. And so I'm hoping that that's what we're seeing with Bentley and the defense.
And Common Sense Buff says there was a lot of talk about the linebackers being a weakness. It turns out they are the most improved room on that defense. Like right now, they are playing, and and people are these. It makes me so happy to see that. I felt like, okay, Bentley coming from Clemson, and there was a hype around him. He was backing somebody up that was a little bit better than him. He comes here and he was supposed to prove himself here to get to that NFL level. And then he kind of, he did get like 40 tackles last year, but it was a little bit of regression because they had to bench him because he didn't have a good start. But now it's like, his confidence has grown. He's getting a great start in the season. And he's doing that. He continues. This is going to be his time to get an invitation. He might get an invitation because this is it for him. So I'm excited for this.
Harry, calm down, Harry.
I know.
Calm down.
Another point.
Give him one more game. Give him one more game.
game.
If he balls out in this Baylor game, I'm going to say I like him.
Okay, but there's another team. There's another guy that we haven't talked much about is Trevor Woods, the convert, the safety convert to linebacker. He's much bigger. He's a little slower, but he's much bigger. But he's getting the work. He's getting the job done. Have we seen Tim? Let me come to you on this one. Tim, have you seen enough from Trevor Woods to say it was a good decision to switch him from safety to linebacker? Because to tell you the truth, like Coach Prime had to switch the guys back and forth. Coach Prime had to switch his offensive linemen back to their original positions, and they thrived. So should we do the same on the defense or just leave it like it is and let Livingston cook?
You lead the defense as is. Yes, Woods has lost a couple of steps by gaining more weight, moving down the linebacker, but he's good in pass protection. I feel like that's where he's best fit, and having a defensive coordinator like Livingston, somebody who gonna try to put each player in their rightful, put them in position to stand out. And I feel like he's doing a great job. And when it comes to that linebacker room, I feel like with Livingston, also the linebackers coach, I want to add him into the mix. I can't think of his name, but
Hart is one of them.
Who?
Hart, Coach Hart.
The white guy that came from Michigan.
Oh, I forget his name. That's enough. It's two of them. That's
Hill Green. Okay, the one that
you got Nakahil Green, who came from Charlotte, via Michigan.
Right, but that was his coach. I think that was his linebackers coach at Michigan, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah. No, Nakahil Green got a few familiar faces. I don't know. I don't remember the name though.
Right. So he's doing an outstanding job with those linebackers. But when it comes to Bentley coming from Clemson linebackers play with a high motor. So I feel like having somebody like Nakahil Green that's going to challenge him and push him to be better. I think that's why we're seeing the best out of Bentley this season.
So, y'all man says that the linebackers are slow. Let me bring on Phil to see if maybe Phil has the same concept. You are forcing me to come on the panel right now. CU's linebackers are dirt slow and can't run. What are you guys looking at? They have zero gap sense. Shaking my head. Phil, welcome to the show. Thank you for calling in, brother. I appreciate you. How you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing well. I can't confirm or deny if I can't confirm or deny if I'm on the clock right now, but I'm gonna ride this thing until I can.
If you can't confirm what?
I can't confirm if I'm on the clock or not right now, but we just gonna keep it moving.
Oh, okay. So do you agree with Yardman that the linebackers are slow? Have you been seeing that, or do you feel like it seems like college football is saying, because they said like our linebackers are one of the best in the Big 12. Do you agree with that, or do you agree with Yardman?
If your argument is that they're one of the best in the Big 12, I quote unquote I'll allow it. But if you're saying they're top 25, top 15,
no, I didn't say all that. I ain't say all that. Don't take it too far, so we don't lose the conversation.
Yeah, so I won't necessarily give pushback on that, but I will point out it seems as though you only have two, and there's Green and there's Bentley as far as your inside linebackers. Anybody after that, I don't know if you really can trust them.
Jeremiah Brown was actually trending a little, not trending, but he was actually, coming up a little bit. I don't know what happened to him, but it seems like the guys that are separating themselves are going to be your two guys, the Nakahil Green and then your Bentley.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think it needs to stay that way. I think most of us have been saying Trevor shouldn't be out there, and I'm happy for the team that we're starting to see the best players be on the field. I think the defense looks a heck of a lot better when Woods is not on the field, and sadly, when Shiloh is not on the field. So if we rocking with this defense that Colorado got out there right now, I feel a little bit more confident with it, especially when Chato comes back. I think they'll look even better.
Yeah, I mean, without the block bully, they did pretty well. But then DC says, which is the real CU, the one that played Nebraska or the one that played CSU? So, Warren, are you able to answer that question and satisfy DC's? Who are we to believe is the real CU, Warren?
Right, but I don't even know if we got. This is game what? This is about to be game 4.
This is game 4. Yeah, game 4
right,
on Saturday.
So for every team, you're not going to know their true identity about what they have. Like the previous person, he was talking about after Hill, Green, and Bentley. I don't know who else they have. That's because not everybody else got on the field, but Woods and Bentley and
Jeremiah Brown got on.
Jeremiah Brown. So it's only game. We only had 3 games, so we don't know how deep our linebacker core really is right now, and that goes for every team that's playing. I don't know how deep unless you follow them like that. But for the average fan, they don't know how deep it is. They only know what they see with their eyes, right? With that being said, I'm put that to the side. I don't know what true CU are we getting. I believe from my data that I did collect, and this goes back to JSU. Based on JSU preview and from last year to this year, I think we got like a JSU team that when we went and lost one game and went to the championship. That's where I'm at with it.
Oh, what? Okay.
What happened? What happened in the championship game, Warren G?
We're not going that far. Phil.
No. I'm just asking because I don't know about Deion's history as a coach. I don't know his history as a coach. I just started following Deion when he got to Colorado. I don't know what happened at Jackson State.
They lost the very last game, so they went 11. They went 12-0 before they lost the championship. They went 11. They at least lost. They only lost 3 games in the 2 years that he was at JSU. And those 2 games, and one was a season game, and the 2 games that they lost was at the championship each year.
The second year it was ULM, and it was a fairly close game too. So I was impressed to see HBCU give it to ULM because they normally get a Grambling or a Southern or Arkansas Pine Bluff to come to Monroe and beat the snot out of people. So I was happy that Jackson State held it together against them.
Right, and so what I'm saying is that's the sample size I'm using to judge where they are right at this particular point. That's what it gives me the vibe.
Hold on, Warren. You're starting trouble, Warren. You're starting a war, okay? and Trump is in New York today. He's in my town today, and he keeps talking about World War III. I don't want you to start no World War III talking about. This is the point where CU has lost 1 game to learn their lessons, and now they're going to go 11-1. You emphatically said that's how you feel right now. Am I right?
No, I thought we're going 10-2.
Okay. All right. Let's play this.
It gives me the vibes.
It's giving you good vibes from that CSU game. You're getting those vibes from the CSU game.
I'm giving good vibes from the 3 games that we played.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I'm still 10-2.
Okay. Cool. Hey, Tim, are you still 10-2? All right, Tim.
Yeah, I'm still 10-2. I'm still 10-2.
So you're getting those warm and fuzzies just like Warren?
No warm and fuzzies. I've been saying 10-2 from the beginning of the season.
Okay, all right.
Who's the loss? Who's the second loss?
Hold on. No, Phil. Don't do that, Phil. Don't stop, Phil. Don't cause no problems on this panel. Hold on.
That actually was an honest question. That wasn't me being facetious, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, so you're admitting that the first one was right?
Very much so. Very much so.
Okay.
Nebraska is a good team, but I don't think Nebraska is better than Utah. And so I do think Baylor's faced the best team between the two. And so we'll see kind of how that, bears out. I will say Nebraska defensively is probably a tick up from Baylor a little bit. I think they're a little bit better than Baylor's defense, but I think Baylor's offense could potentially be better than Nebraska's, which is kind of the other side of the coin here. But regardless,
he says a little bit more, and I was going to play that, but he just said that since we got this panel going a little bit, do we believe that Baylor's offense is a tick up from Nebraska's offense? Does anybody on this panel believe that?
I don't, because we don't know who their starting quarterback is yet. Because they don't have a quote unquote controversy, but we don't know who's going to be starting.
They got two quarterbacks. One.
Yeah. How did
we?
Go ahead, Tim. There might be a delay on Tim.
No, I was going to say
Tim, there might be some type of audio delay, but go ahead. Okay, so something's going on with Tim's audio. We can't hear him. So he's probably talking, but we can't hear him. Okay, so So for those of you who know Baylor, they have two viable quarterbacks.
They have one quarterback that's more prominent at running, and one that's just a little bit better than the first passing the ball. But they both can run.
They use two quarterbacks.
Okay,
but
so
that wasn't the plan going into the season. The Daquan Finn kid just hasn't been playing that well, and they ended up putting in the Robertson kid, who could be starting against Colorado. So the plan was never to have a two quarterback system.
Okay, is the quarterback running like NDSU's quarterback running?
I would say that
after the game just said Baylor's QBs are just like NDSU's QBs. Oh, okay. So if that's the case, then okay, it's going to be a long night for our defense to try to stop them, because they're probably going to be dialing up some packages for those quarterbacks if they're running quarterbacks. Because we play mostly man, right? Like, do y'all remember what Colorado played in with CSU? Was it coverage? Was it man coverage? It was man, right? So are we committed to man the entire season, or is that our identity, or what are we doing? Anybody know?
I mean, right now, they're not running man every single play, but I think that's what they prefer to run. But I don't think it's every single play we're going to run man.
So let me put this out there. Let me lay this down. If Colorado's defense is doing pretty well, and our defense is running man, doesn't that give you an indicator that Colorado is comfortable with guarding, like being man coverage, and we are one of the best man coverages in the Big 12? Or am I seeping back into dreamy Harry?
Hey, Harry, let me say this. One thing you have to worry about, like NDSU was doing, you play man coverage, you run your secondary off, and you put your back out one side or the other, and as the rush comes, you let your quarterback pick a hole and run. And and then you should see 15 or 20 yards of pay dirt in front of you in a man coverage. In zone, you keep everything in front of you with your eyes towards the quarterback, which gives you a better opportunity to deal with the run. Another thing is that what the defensive ends were not doing in that first game was, as they rush at the same level to get the same depth as the quarterback as he drops back. And that enables them to maintain their pass rush lanes and keep the quarterback in the pocket, send the defensive tackles up the middle to apply pressure, and the ends to contain. I'm hoping that they do that a little better this game.
What is for most college football teams, what is better to be in, man coverage or zone coverage?
It just depends on your team, Harry, because you can have the same defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator, and they will change certain things based off of the the personnel they have on the field or just their team as a whole that year. So it's hard to really say. Now you can say the man principles that Livingston runs. Let me rephrase that. He tries to run man maybe 75% of the time, zone 30% of the time. But you can feel a little bit more comfortable running man coverage when you have somebody like Travis Hunter on your defense. I would assure you, if the skill level was a little bit lower on the defense, you would see them run a lot more zone.
Okay, so I think that's what I wanted to get to. It should be an indicator that about the skill set that we have on that defense for you to trust them to be able to run 70% man. Because if those guys can't cover, there's no way you keep them in man. Because if they're getting beat down every single time, you gotta fall into a zone coverage because they just can't cover. So that's giving me the warm and fuzzies, and I have to admit it because I feel like Colorado Sky has played well in all 3 games. The defense has played very well in all 3 games, and they've been 70 to, I'll say the high 60 to 70% man coverage. That means we have a talented defense, so we should be able to. By the time we get to November football, if we're holding on and we win 1 or 2 games by the time we get to November, it should be easier. Is that too much to say?
I get your logic, but you also have to look at who they're playing against. I don't think anybody would say that just as of right now, the teams they've played against has been a true test for your defensive secondary. Your defensive linemen have been tested with NDSU and with Nebraska. Your your linebackers have been tested with NDSU and Nebraska. But as far as your secondary is concerned, with like legit skill players on the outside, they haven't been challenged yet. So I don't know how comfortable I am with crowning them yet.
I'm gonna push back a little bit on some of that, and the reason and not to disagree with total argument, because I understand what your point is. Big 12 will have the predominantly has a running quarterback and a running back, and it's a couple programs out there that got 2 quarterbacks that like to run, and sometimes they'll mess around with 2 quarterbacks. But we can get to that later. Big 12 is a run program through and through and through. We're the really high, definitely. We're the really dominant passing program in the Big 12. So, with that being said, the Nebraska game where they was losing a lot of motion, we didn't get a good grade on that. So this game right here would be the sign, or we'll be able to say, okay, did they make adjustments from that Nebraska game? Because this team right here lose a lot of motion. They like to run their quarterback. They like to run the ball. They'll throw some passes underneath to you too. So we have to see if we can put together a good game plan on defense where we can actually give to you a grade, whether they're A, B, C, or D at this point, because that's what we're gonna be facing most of the season. Let's just keep it a buck.
All right. So at this point, what we've learned so far, and thanks to Coach Barber and let me put them on the screen again. I want to say shout out to Coach Barber and Grayson Grunhofer. Thanks to these guys for their insight on the Big 12 and their insight on Baylor football. I don't think I would have done this without them. I appreciate that. I got a lot of insight. Now, at this point, focusing on CU entirely, understanding what CU has and what we don't have. CU, we understand that CU has its bread and butter. That's the run. CU, I mean, that's the pass. CU has to show us more. Who is what? I'm just gonna a blanket statement. Do we all agree that CU has to show more on the run, or are we satisfied with what they showed us and we're able to accept that?
They need to show more on the run for me.
So they need to show more. Phil thinks we need to show. They need to show more.
Wait. How do you define show more? I want to make sure I answer the question correctly.
Show more would be something like, okay, Colorado, if they get into trouble early and they're playing from behind, they're going to run the ball regardless. That's showing more. Because Colorado's identity has always been get scared, get shook as soon as they get ahead or we get in trouble. Abandon run, pass.
Nah, they still need to show me some stuff when it comes to the run game. If that's how you define it, they definitely need to show me more.
Yeah, because that's been the biggest thing. So, all right. So Baylor's secondary is not proven. They still have some questions on their run stop defense, but it's like it's improving. Like CU is improving. Let's do score predictions. Ron Tate.
Yes, sir.
With everything that we've discussed so far and what you've learned, a little bit that you've learned about Baylor, what is your score prediction?
35-14.
35-14, and that's going to be CU?
Oh, come on, Harry.
Yes, sir. I assume anything, man. People were choosing Nebraska. So
hey, listen, I haven't gone that far.
Okay. All right, so Ron Tate. Ron Tate, 35-14, right?
That's it.
Warrant, what's your score prediction? Warren G, you still there? All right, we'll hold on for Warren. Tim Smith, what is your score prediction?
32-13, CU.
32-13. CU. Can you put some heat behind that? Why 32-13? And what do you think the things that's going to make us get that? What is going to help us to get that?
I feel like that defense, man. They're going to get better and better after each game. I feel like the Nebraska loss, which was good that it happened earlier in the season to kind of bring them to reality. That
I agree. I like that loss. Yeah.
To bring them back to reality. And I feel like they just going to build up. They're going to build. Right now, they looking at every game 0-0 until kickoff. And
Okay.
are we going to go 1-0? Or are we going to go 0-1?
So good to look at it.
I feel like they bought. I'm feeling like they are buying in and trusting the process. I don't feel like Baylor gonna be able to stop that offense, man, at all. I feel like they made adjustments, put certain people back in their natural position to make them better, and I feel like Shador he's gonna eat them alive, man. I just had that feeling.
I just hope that CU doesn't make anybody a superstar from Baylor. Because I mean, there's times that we get to the game and everybody's still in the locker room or still on the plane, and well, I mean, in the locker room because we're going to be at home at this time. But I just hope everybody shows up and don't make anybody a superstar. Warren G, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
What's your score prediction? We got Surfer Boy for 28-21 CU.
Yeah.
What is your score prediction?
So, right now our product is being tested by so many different entities, from the content creator, from the fans, from the media, from other programs. It's being tested, and we really gonna have to come out and play strong ball. We know that we getting every team's best. We got a target on our back, just mere fact because of Prime being there. Let's just keep it a buck. That's just the main reason behind it and what Prime brings to the table. We know that all eyes on us. I'm gonna give you my long way. I'm giving you my long score prediction, and then I'm gonna shut up.
Oh, okay. I'll wait. I just want to make sure you didn't give me a number and I forgot it already.
No. So let me give you my number. So I would have to say 10-35 game would be suffice it will heal the wounds of Harry B. So
Wait,
that'd
you
be the
saying
fourth
35
game.
to 10?
Yeah.
35 to 10 CU?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the numbers is not just going to sway me either way. I need to see how they get there. You feel me?
Right. Well,
Yeah. How they get
that's
to
the part.
35
That
to
was a part of my 10, and that's a part of my 10. I mean, my 10 and 30, 10 and 35. That's the part of it.
Because defenses can score as well. So as well as Colorado is doing on defense, I believe eventually the defense is going to start contributing to the score. So
they almost did last game.
Yeah, they almost did. So I think eventually you're gonna start seeing that defense doing so well that we're gonna be like leaning on them to please just get one so we can get out of games. Hopefully it's not this game. I want the offense to dominate this game, but again, I'm still wounded. I'm still wounded. And
I'm gonna be honest.
Maybe a lot of y'all out there are not wounded, but don't take this personal. It's just me. I'm a fan, just like you are a fan. You have your own feelings. You have your own way of how you approach the game. I just want to let you know, as a content creator who follows CU very closely, Nebraska game wounded me, and I'm still getting over that wound. And how they come out of these next couple of games is going to let me know whether they recalibrated me to let me know that they're going to compete in games. Because let me just put the schedule back up. I've been putting it up. I just been letting y'all know what's coming down this line. These teams are not lesser teams. These teams are going to be either formidable opponent, a little bit better, or they're going to come to play. And I just want CU to be able to compete. If CU competes, then for me, it's not about if we lost as much as it is about how CU showed up and gave it everything they got. You were gonna finish your thought, Warren G?
Yeah, let me say this. Don't forget, Nebraska.
Try to keep it short because I want to go to Phil. I want to go to Phil's. What's the name?
Okay, but don't forget that Nebraska did not score none that second half. That's all I want to say.
That was Nebraska.
That's where I'm putting it at.
That's not Baylor. That was Nebraska. So because they didn't score doesn't mean that Baylor ain't going to score. So that's not.
I'm just letting you know.
No, I get it. I get it.
With.
Because we cannot evaluate based on another team's efforts. So I cannot lean on too much and say the one thing I take away is that they played very well all 3 games. I would say our defense did very well, but because Nebraska didn't score in the second half, it doesn't mean that Baylor's not going to score in the second half. Phil, what are your score predictions?
I think CU will win. I believe they will score anywhere from 24 to 31 points. I don't see them scoring more than 35. Just because I think Baylor's going to try, as every team that doesn't have the firepower to go, shot for shot with Colorado, they're going to play a more ground control game on offense. They're going to try to. Now it's up to the CU defense to stop the run game and then, get the ball back to Shador. But I'm gonna go 28-17 Colorado, and I think Mata gets another field goal block this game as well.
Why are you picking on Mata? Why are you doing that?
He's the kicker, so and I think he's gonna get a field goal block. I'm not picking on him. I just
because he be kicking those balls. They kick the ball so low, it's just like, yo, dudes just jump up and they can get to it. So yeah, that low trajectory is now you're questioning it because you're wounded as I'm wounded.
Oh, can I make a quick comment on that, Hair?
Yeah.
About the low kick. So the weekend, well, Sunday or Monday after the Nebraska Colorado game, the Nebraska football's YouTube channel, they do their episode for the week, and within the very first, I say 2 minutes of a 44-minute video, Matt Rule said, "I expect us to block every kick Saturday." So clearly, there's the tape is out on Mata when it comes to his low kicks. For that to be one of the things that they pointed out in the video, and it to actually happen, I think there's something to it, and hopefully he can get it changed, because as you get further in the season and you play tougher opponents and you get more important games, you got to have a field goal kicker you can rely on. Trust me, as a Bama fan, I know if you ain't got a good kicker, you can go home real sad some nights.
Well, that's the thing about CU's, kickers. I don't. You're not going to hear me being concerned. Like whenever our kickers come up, I sit back and I relax and I say, okay, yeah, we got one block, but that is not ever a concern for me because we got Jace Feely, we got Alejandro Mata, and then Mark Vassett is doing so well placing that ball, even though he has, made some mistakes. But yeah, our kicking team, I'm confident that's not a part of Colorado football that makes me nervous. The only thing
that's fine. I'm glad you're not nervous. I'm just saying, like, it is an important part. Like, special teams is a very important part of putting together a championship team and getting to the championship.
If you're bringing it up, then that means that's an area of concern for you. You don't bring it up if you're not concerned.
Yeah, it's a concern for me. But what I'm saying is, I don't knock you for not being concerned. I'm just pointing out that it will matter more when those games mean more. So just
yeah, I'll put my money like, okay, if I was a betting man and I was to bet that if Colorado had a situation where we had to kick to win the game, I will put my money on Colorado's kicker in that game all day.
What's the furthest you would go with that kick to feel confident?
45 yards, 50 yards. Anything above 50 yards, then that's
fair. That's fair. That's realistic because 50 yards is not easy.
Yeah, 50 yards. 50 yards the most that I'll be comfortable with. Anything outside of 50 yards, then I start feeling like you got to put in Jace Feely because I think Jace can hit 50 yards. So if you have Alejandro Mata in, it's going to be too low, and it's just not gonna it's not gonna work out for him. So
and 9 times out of 10 to put us in that position, you have to be doing what Nebraska did to put Shador in that position, because anytime you get the ball to Shador, 9 times out of 10 he's marching the ball down the field. Now, if you can make that happen, then the other, of course, may happen, which he's not.
So
kicking.
lately, has been 9 times out of 10 though. That's one part of a little bit of a nervousness that I have. That now, I was like. I was a 100% Shador all the time. Now I'm a little bit nervous because now I have to worry about him. And I'm like, why am I worried about Shador? That's kind of weird. 3 games he has made me worried. And I'm like, I wonder if it was a miscommunication or if it was him. I don't want to be worried about Shador. Shador has never made me worry before, but this season he's making me worry that he's not going to place the ball there. And I've never had that before.
I'm not worried. Shador, he's proven time and time again at big moments, at crucial moments. I remember the one pass he made to Travis in order to make it overtime in the championship game of JSU. And I don't have to go that far, but I mean the game against the pass, that pass that he made against CSU all the way into the corner, and Travis caught it in the end zone. Now that's the same pass he made in practice that everybody said that was a video clip of. That they manipulated the video to say that he didn't throw that pass.
Right.
So I'm not concerned about him making a couple mistakes. I'm just not. I know he quickly adjusts. His IQ is out there. He's into the game, and he may have some rush passes in the first quarter because he's anxious to get some get back and improve himself. There was probably a little bit of motion, but he settled down real quick.
Hey Warren, and I'll say this to piggyback off of that, man. I think Shador can get the job done, but I think to add to that, if the defense continues to improve, it will make it where he doesn't have to feel like he's being perfect every game. He has to go out and win every game. Exactly. I think a Shador Sanders that doesn't have to be on 100% all game is a better Shador. Obviously, we haven't seen him like force it or anything like that, but it's good when you have a defense to take some of that weight off of the quarterback. And if
Yes,
Colorado
sir.
can continue doing that, I think you're going to see a better Colorado offense on the field because we're getting a better defense from Colorado.
So let me ask you a question, then we can get up out of here with this last one. We would say the question is, it'll be a reverse question as well. One area in Colorado football that makes you the most nervous, not like the least nervous, but the most nervous. One area. It could be on the defense or the offense. What is the one area that makes you nervous the most? I can start it off by saying, mine is the most nervous is Coach Prime not running the ball. That is the one area that makes me the most nervous. And I think that has climbed over the offensive line not protecting Shedeur. Because if I was to have a second one, that would be my number one. But in 3 games, my number one area that makes me the most nervous is Coach Prime not running the ball. And
so would that be considered coaching then? Because if you're saying area, I'm thinking like position, but I can rock with that.
I think Coach Prime's decision making for the run game makes me the most nervous because we do well with the passing game, and that's our bread and butter. And he's not committed to running if the pass is working. But because I know that the Big 12 is going to know how to stop the pass, which is sometimes a lot easier than the run game. But I would say, yeah, just Coach Prime's. I will bunch it up with Coach Prime's time management and running the ball.
You're right about that time management.
That's where I'm the most nervous with is Coach Prime's running the ball and time management. Ronte, where are you the most nervous?
Harry, you know it's running the ball with me. That was the first thing that came to my mind when you posed that question.
Okay.
Is Coach Prime sticking with the run? Like I said, we got to put our headlights on high and look further down the road because we're going to need that run game throughout the season.
Yeah. For me, that's the same thing for me. I'm still nervous when it comes to that. That's the most nervous I am. I think Coach Prime can figure out how to control the clock and do stuff like that, which is kind of like distant second. But I think that run game, not being able to commit to it, makes me the most nervous. Phil, where are you the most nervous?
I would say, I would just say Deion's coaching as a whole, and then I would say the offensive line I'm still very concerned about.
All right, so Coach Prime's overall coaching makes you the most nervous. All right, that's fair enough. Warren G, where are you the most nervous with CU when it comes to CU football? Warren G is he's on mute right now, so we'll wait. Tim, if you're not on mute,
I'm sorry, it's coaching. I'm sorry, I thought I was on coaching for me.
Oh, okay. So you're the most nervous with coaching.
Yes.
Anything specific? Is it like coaching on the defense, coaching on the offense? Wait, which one?
I would say more so on offense. I want to see some, I like what I'm seeing. Don't get me wrong. I love what they're doing, the adjustments that they're making. I just want to see if it continues and develop. I just want to see that develop because I believe that we have all the players I think we have the right mix of players that can come in and contribute in different ways.
All right. That black dude just got a gift from Wild Dog with a membership. Wild Dog, I want to say salute to you, man. Longtime member of CU of TLP Sports Club. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for gifting that membership. I appreciate that. Let me answer Yardman Harry. The Big 12 has always been a passing league. That first statement is not correct based on my research. What makes you think they don't know how to cover a throwing team? I don't know.
He's not completely wrong in that statement though. Here lately, they have been more of a run-heavy league, but traditionally they've been a very pass-happy league. Go back and look at Oklahoma and Texas of the past. Look at Mike Leach at Texas.
Where are they? But where are they now? They're not there no more.
No, but that's not his argument.
That's the reason why they changed. No, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying The
No,
reason
I
why
don't
we're saying that
literally
they're
argue.
okay. Oh
So listen,
no, I didn't.
the way I'm looking at this is, I'm reading this is, I don't know what part of the show he's referring to as far as they not being able to cover a throwing team, because I know that we talked about the Grayson and Colt. They talked about the secondary not being able to. So I don't know which part of the show he's talking about, but I didn't say that.
We're
I
basing
didn't
this
say.
off of last year, where if you look at the majority of those teams, most of their yards was high and running. They have high running. They have 1,000-yard running back, 1,000-yard QBs, and most of that was through that Big 12 last year before we crossed over.
No. The Big 12 has in recent years have become a run first, a run heavy conference. Now maybe in the past, they were pass, they were pass happy, or pass heavy. But right now, I know in the most recent years they've been. I didn't make the statement that they could not cover passing, so I don't know what part of the show or what he's listening to as Yardman. I don't know. Maybe something the Jamaican air is not helping you. I don't know. I didn't say that they could not cover passing. I know they can cover passing, and I think passing is. I think I made the statement saying the passing is easier for them to cover, but the run, I don't think that Coach Prime is going to cover. Is going to be committed to the run enough, and that's the part that makes me the most nervous. Hey Tim, are you here? What makes you most nervous about Colorado football? Have you answered? I'm not sure if you can unmute. If you can, then we just. Hey, Warren, did you said coaching? Okay, so Ron said running. I said running. Phil said coaching. Warren said coaching. All right. Let's flip the question.
Special teams.
Special teams makes you the most nervous.
Yes, sir.
Why so? Because our games have not come down to special teams needing to really be a strong part of the game. So why is special teams making you the most nervous?
Phil alluded to what to Mata. I mean, and talk about, it hasn't yet, but it will determine whether you win or lose a game. He won at Arizona State last season. This season, he's off to a rough start, and they haven't fixed them low kicks, which can easily be blocked going forward.
But the question is, you can be nervous about that, but that's what makes you the most nervous about CU football?
Yeah, because it could cost you a game.
Oh, okay. All right. So, like somewhere down the line, because it hasn't been the case for 3 games. So you're saying, like, if it comes down to it, we're going to be playing some of these teams so close that it's making you nervous that could be the part where it costs CU you're 10-2.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, I see that. Let's flip this question. What makes you the most excited about CU football? You're not nervous. You're just like, you can sit back, you can watch the game, and you're like, anytime this is happening, I know we got it in the bag the most. And let me start with you, Tim Smith.
I think the criticism
that gets you the most excited about CU's football.
Yeah, because I feel like after that Nebraska loss, I feel like Coach Prime and them got all this criticism, but it was out of love. And I feel like they got the memo. So a lot of things they attempted in the CSU game, excuse me.
Okay.
So that's my outlook on that.
That's kind of left field, but I see where you're going with that. You like the fact that Colorado gets criticized, and you think like the ongoing criticism is going to keep them honest.
Facts.
Okay, I'm with it. Warren G, what gets you more excited about Colorado football? The one point that you're like, man, I really like this about Colorado football.
Man, they climbing up the charts. The arrow for them, it looks like it's going up more so than it's flat line or going down. I'm looking at that trajectory, so that's what That's what I like, the fact that the trajectory is going up more so than it's going down a flat line.
So every week they're growing, and that's why that's what you're most excited about.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. The growth, the overtime growth. I don't agree with you. I don't disagree with you, and I don't agree with you fully, because I feel like there's some areas that they haven't really addressed. The creativity on the play calling, they haven't really answered that fully, and the coaching, the in-game management, they haven't really grown from that, and it keeps becoming a thing.
Can I ask a question about that creativity point?
I'm coming to you. You can have it. Like, you can put
No.
that.
I was asking a question about what you said. I wasn't trying to answer the original.
Oh,
question.
okay. All right.
You said something about creativity on offense.
Yeah. The offensive play calling is not creative. Yeah.
Do you think that it could be the players aren't ready for that right now? Or do you think it's because they're just not trying to run it?
Well,
because
listening to Joe Klatt and listening to Matt McChesney, I feel like it's not about players being ready for it. I feel like if you practice anything, like if you practice it in practice, then they'll be ready for it. Just like anything else, you got to practice it. So if you're gonna sweep, if you want to be creative, put in a package that you can sweep, and then practice that until you bleed. I don't think they're inept. You cannot, at this level, I don't think they're inept. I think you just got to put it into the practice and then do it. So if you're doing a jet sweep, if you want to be more elusive, then you're going to have to put players in space. You're going to have to do some crossing routes. You're going to have more motion on the offensive side of the ball. But there is no motion. I was looking for it in the CSU game, but I didn't see any motion. Again, Joe Klatt said there needs to be more motion. CSU was a much inferior team. They did a lot of good things, but can we hang our head on the creativity that we saw in the CSU game and say that was enough, sufficient enough? I didn't see enough creativity on that CSU game, although we won the game. So, Phil, what gets you the most excited? So that's why, Warren G, that's why I can agree with you 100%, where I agree with you that they are growing in areas. The defense, the most probably, is showing the most growth, but still there are adjustments that needs to be made. So that's why I'm kind of 50-50 with you on that one. Phil, what area are you the most excited about Colorado football?
It has to be Travis Hunter for me. I think for somebody who's been watching college football his entire life, I'm only 38, so I ain't saying I've been watching it for 100 years, but I've said it before, college football is my first love, and I don't think I've seen anybody like Travis Hunter. Champ Baylor was really good playing both sides of the ball. Charles Woodson did really good, playing both sides of the ball. You've seen quarterbacks that can play quarterback and wide receiver before, but for somebody to be able to for it to be as clear as day that he's the best player on the field every single time he crosses that white line is crazy to me. And I don't know if we will ever see something like that again. So I just want to enjoy it for what it is.
Okay. So, so Travis Hunter is okay. I can see where you're going with that.
It's something historical. It's something special. I think Ron can attest. Like, we ain't seen nobody like this. We've seen guys that can play both sides of the ball, but to be this dominant on both sides, I can't think of anybody that could do that.
And I think that what most people have said is, and I'm liking what they're saying is, you draft him for cornerback and then you put him in offensive packages. Like, you may have 20 plays, where you give him at least 20 snaps on Sundays. But I don't think he's a top level NFL corner. I think he's more likely a top level NFL receiver. So I would much rather see him play the receiver. So it'll be the other way around for you. Then you would draft him as a wide receiver and then have him on some packages on defense.
Well, if I'm a GM, I'm going to draft him at the cheapest position I can pay him at. That's what I would do. But then Yeah, heck yes. I mean,
scoundrel.
that's the name of the game when it comes to football, baby. It's a dog eat dog world out there. But in all seriousness, I think he is a much better receiver at the NFL level than he would be a cornerback. So I would rather put him there, even though I would be spending a lot more money on him as a quarterback.
Yeah. Travis, he game after game. I'm so glad that he came out healthy in the CSU game, because now at least we get to see him in the 3 games that we didn't see him in last year. So I'm happy. But what I've been seeing from Travis, I'm like, wow, I didn't know he could do all of that. Like, he's just doing a lot because he's not coming off of an injury and trying to play Travis ball. It's like he's still healthy, and it's really special to watch, man. I'm telling you, it's special to watch. Hey, Tim Smith, you're back on the panel, but you got to put on your devices. Ron Tay, your turn. Tell me what is.
Gosh, man, I've been waiting for you to call me, Eric.
I know. I'm sorry, but what excites you the most about Colorado football?
Hey, the run game. Hey, the run game, man. And
wait, are you trolling or no?
No, I'm 100% serious.
Oh wow, okay.
I'm 100% serious. I'm happy about the glimpses that we've seen, and I'm telling you, if it continues to get better, Coach Prime continues to see it in practice so he can execute it on game day. I'm really excited about the run game, because I know, as far as the run game, that if that continues to get better, that is really going to help the team as a whole. And as far as Travis Hunter, I have never, ever, high school, little league, college, and the little stints in the NFL, never seen anyone play like him.
Come on, guys. You got Deion Sanders coaching this team, and he's
hey, listen,
like
I watched Deion Sanders a lot. I didn't like him because I thought he was on drugs and drinking, but he's told everyone, hey, he never did any of that. I didn't like him because I liked him, the talent, but I didn't like the brassness. But he explained it. There was a difference between Prime and Deion. But I'm thinking the run. I'm most excited about the run.
So you're excited about potential, because they ain't showed us nothing on the run for you to be that excited. You just see that the potential is there, and that makes you the most excited about it.
Yes, because that is going to be the most profound effect for the team overall. That run game will open up the passing. Ask Tom Brady about it.
Yo, then you better at Prime on X. You better at Prime on X and drop
hey, Harry,
that message.
Go ahead and DM him tonight, Harry. You know he listens to you.
Well, I keep talking about it because I know there's somebody listening. I don't know who it is in that camp, but everything we talk about here on this channel happens.
Come on, Bucky. Help your dad, Bucky.
Yeah, come on, Bucky. Like, let's not get into trouble on Saturday and abandon the run. You feel me? All right, so what I'm most excited about Colorado football, I believe it is, I like Travis Hunter's leadership. I like the fact that he has, he's like he's a giant. You know what I'm saying? Like, Travis Hunter does not want to be talked about. He don't care about none of that. He knows his ability, and he just said, okay, I am who I am. I want you to elevate other people around me. Y'all are going to talk about me anyways. I don't care about that. I like that about Travis Hunter. So now because it's like you have something, right, that kind of makes you feel good about the team. You know, like, because there's so much other things that are happening that you just like, it's a little bit of a question there, and you're like, the person that really satisfied my Christian man, the person that really gives me that idea of they're doing it the right way, I like it. I'm not hating on nobody else on how they do it, because obviously people have different personalities. The person that really gives me that feeling of that I can hang my hat on and say, I can go to war with this guy when it comes to personality, when it comes to character and everything. Travis Hunter is the one single person on that team that I know in given any situation, he would represent God, the God that I know, he would represent that God. Nobody else does that, but Travis Hunter does that. So that's what makes me the most excited about Colorado football, because we have somebody with that kind of character. And I'm like, wow, I like that about him. So final thoughts. Let's get up out of here. It is 4:00. We've been streaming for close to 2.5 hours. Final thoughts on what you see happening on Saturday. Give me the good, give me the bad, give me the ugly, and we can get up out of here. Ron Tate, you have the mic.
Well, I think Saturday we're going to see.
What are you going to do first? You're going to do good, bad, or ugly, or what direction?
I'm going to do the good first.
Okay, go ahead.
We're going to see evidence of how the run game, 150 yards, will complement the passing yards, 350 yards. And the bad is Coach Prime not sticking with the run game. And the ugly will be time management by the coaches.
Okay.
I want to see it at halftime. Normally, at the end of the game, it's over. The game is over. But I want to see at halftime. How does he manage that game? Those last 2 minutes of the half. See if he's learning and growing in that area.
Okay, and that's the ugly.
That's the ugly for me.
Okay. All right, Phil So Real. Give me the good, the bad, the ugly, and we can get up out of here. Final thoughts, my guy.
Good will be Travis Hunter. He always shows up. Bad is going to be the offensive line play. I think they're going to
feel free to explain it a little bit.
Okay, which part?
I'm just saying, like, what? I don't want you to just be like, you know.
Okay, I wasn't trying to monopolize the time, but no. So
no. You got time. You got time.
Okay, cool. So good again, Travis. He's always going to show up. I have the most faith in him. For anybody on the team. The bad, I think, is going to be the offensive line. I think we're going to see them take a step back. And I think they're going to take a step back because they're not going to, they being the offensive play caller, is not going to go back to running the ball. I think it was a flash in the pan situation. And then I think the ugly I think there's a potential for the score to get ugly. And see you blow these guys out by 21. So, I mean, I guess technically that'd be good for them, but it'd be ugly for people that are Baylor fans.
Okay.
Excuse me, Phil, I want to ask.
It could go oppositely, but go ahead. What are you saying, Ron?
I wanted to say, Phil, weren't you the same person that said that CU wasn't going to run the ball against CSU? Or was that DC?
I honestly don't remember, but if I said it, let's just say for the sake of conversation, I said it. I honestly don't remember, but I'm okay with saying I said it, and I was wrong if I did.
But Ron, the only reason why we ran that ball is because we did get lucky and get some yards. I'm just gonna poke the bear right there.
Well, it wasn't. I don't think it was luck.
Okay.
I think it really. Well, go ahead with your questions because
it was and it wasn't luck. It was luck
right.
because Colorado just got better players than Colorado State, but Colorado still had to make a man move against his own will, and they did a great job with it. So you gotta still give them credit for it.
Yeah. So if we want to keep it all the way funky, they would have abandoned that run, boy. I'm telling you. Anyway.
Oh yeah, they would have gave up on it quick if they weren't having success.
Exactly.
But you also notice Welch, the guy I've been talking about all summer. The offense looked different with Welch out there. I just say that.
It did. No. I got a short on Michael Welch that got over like 5,000 or 10,000 views, and he was just working out. And I said that this guy was going to be a problem because of his work ethics, and I see that. And if they're using more, I think we let's just start talking about retention. Right? We see some of these, shiny spots that we see. Can we keep them? All right, Tim Smith. Whew, boy. Wow. The good, the bad, the ugly, and feel free to go in.
Okay, the good, the offensive line stacks another block on top of last week. Feel like they're going to be consistently getting better, building, gelling as a unit, playing as one unit. The ugly, sticking with the offensive line, they convert back and allow Shador to get. They allow 4 or 5 sacks. The ugly. Um, but overall, I think they're gonna. They're gonna play well. And I'm not really looking at the ugly, but I'm trying to stay positive.
Wait, was that the bad or the ugly?
That was the ugly.
Okay, what's the bad?
I'm gonna agree with everybody else as far as how Coach Prime managed this the time of possession in the first half. I can care less about the second half. I do care, but I want to see, can you start it from the beginning?
Because how you start is how you finish, or are you gonna finish like that?
Yeah.
The good for me, I believe that Colorado is their offense. The offensive line is gonna come out and they're gonna try to keep that momentum going. Where the fact that they were standing behind Shador and they were being highlighted in the media. I feel like they're gonna carry that through the game and they're gonna try to show up early. That's gonna be a good thing to see for us, and our offense is gonna move the ball a little bit better. And we're going to have a good showing. The bad is going to be not running the ball enough. We're going to get happy because we get a few passes down the field, and then when that's working, we're just going to totally forget about the run, and we're not going to run the ball. The ugly, Coach Prime loses the game due to a poor game management. The game is going to be close, and Coach Prime is not going to make the right adjustments time-wise, and we're going to do what who was it? Was it the Philadelphia versus the Atlanta Falcons game? We're going to leave like maybe a minute and a half on the clock by hiking the ball a little bit too fast when we got 40 seconds or something like that. We're going to hike the ball too fast, and we're going to be trying to go too fast and not be mindful that we need to eat the clock and then control the clock. So that's going to get up real ugly. And if it gets ugly and you leave time on the clock, that's going to cost us the game. If it has to get to that ugly part. And this question is killing me. And I just wanted to ask y'all can go. We're done with the show. But I wanted to ask y'all this question. It's killing me inside. Coach Prime says at the end, in his press conference, with 9 minutes or with 3 minutes to go, he was continuing to throw the ball. Coach Prime says, well, the reason why I was doing this is because they're trying to score. I'm trying to score. I mean, okay, we can buy that. We can say, fine, it's a rivalry game. And you were just trying to do what you got to do. Can we buy the idea of Coach Prime was just trying to score, and that's what it was, or is it he's just not aware of clock management? Because it's just burning me inside for my head coach to continue to do that. And this time around, because we won the game and we're happy, we're going to hide behind the rivalry thing and say, well, yeah, that's what it was, because it's still eating me inside. Anybody wants to answer, just take it.
I have a counter question to that. How much of a sample size do we have of CU being up by a lot and the other team still trying to score? I believe the only game that we've seen be a blowout for Colorado was basically the CSU game last Saturday, and then the Nebraska game last year. So those are really the only two games that we can judge to say, can he truly manage the clock when he's winning the game?
We lost the Stanford game, but we were blowing them out 29 to the half. And we came out, started to throw. We didn't.
Cool. So 3.
There.
Cool. Yeah, so we got that's not a huge sample size, but it's something. But going based off of those, I would say it's just dumb. It's just dumb. I don't think I would expect something like that from Lane Kiffin. I think Lane Kiffin is a great coach. I think he's great with the X's and O's, but I think he can be a joke sometimes. I would expect a comment like that out of Lane Kiffin, not out of Deion Lawan Sanders.
What are your thoughts, Ron? I mean, was it just he trying to be competitive, or is it the same thing we've been seeing, the whole clock management? He's not aware of that and he doesn't care.
It was, I think that was a good comment to cover that very thing. I think he realizes now that he has to be, instead of running off of emotions and rely more on the intellectual part of the game. And I think he just said that off the cuff. I really do, because he can't believe that if push come to shove, a team that you're beating by 2 points and you're running the ball and all of a sudden you want to start passing and it's got, 45 seconds left to go in the game and you're passing because they're trying to score. No, you have to. I think that was a teaching moment for him, but he spoke that way. I want to believe, to cover for his error.
But Ron, let me add this to that. Remember his run game worked in that game. So
yes.
If the point is I was trying to score just like they were trying to score, then are you saying that your run game was not as good as your pass game that you can score with? Because you could have scored with your run game in that game because you were running the game, the ball effectively. So you could have used the same thing with that. You could have used that same argument because your run game was actually working in that game. So why wasn't it that an equal thing to say for the run game? Because it was working.
Well, Harry, like I said, it was something he needed to do once he realized, that was kind of a mistake. That was a coaching error. But instead of saying a coaching error, he just said, well, they're trying to score, so we're trying to score.
Okay.
But that was a learning. I want to chalk that up as a learning experience for him.
So since Coach Prime, since you listened to me, let me just look into the camera and tell you this. We love you. We support you out here. We know that you are, a good leader, a good man, and you mean a lot to this community, not just to the football community, but to the Black community, to the community as a large, not just the Black community. We want you to win. When the announcers are saying at this point you need to just run the ball, run the clock out. At that point, tell Shador, you have the microphone in his helmet now. You can talk to him and say, Shador, run the ball. That's it. Let's get up out of here. That's all we want you to do. So whether you're trying to win or you're not trying to win, there are other coaches that are that disciplined and they're going to run the clock out on you and you're not going to get an opportunity. We want you to start doing those things. We want you to start thinking about the intellectual part of college football. You don't have to always dominate. When you have the opportunity, please, Coach Prime, dominate all you want. When there's an opportunity for you to just run out the clock and not put your guys in harm's way, get them hurt, God forbid somebody bend a knee, somebody does something. The intellectual part of the football game is going to help CU to survive the season because we're not even in November yet. And we're still making those decisions to continue to play out and leave 1 minute on the clock where we had 3 minutes. All we had to do was just kneel the ball and we would have been in the locker room. So we're just pleading to you. We love you and we want you to win. And if we are critical if we're critical, right? If we're saying critical things, it's because we want you to win. Just like you love us and you want us to win as well. We love you and we want you to win. So because we're critical, it does not make us haters. We do not hate Colorado or hate you. We just want you to play football the way that it was meant to play. So we keep saying run the ball is because you're running the ball increases the opportunities for passes to work. It opens up the pass game. And you have to do it regardless if it's working. That's why we say that. And if we're saying games management, it's because what happened last year. There were times where you can call a timeout, increases your chances of getting the ball back. And it's not happening. And that's why we keep saying it. Coach Prime, you got to have that practice of managing games well for us out here to know that Coach Prime is something that Coach Prime is aware of, and he would do it. You're capable, my guy. You got a gold jacket. Come on, man. We know that you're capable. Do your thing, man. All right, guys. I appreciate you joining this show. Thank you. I'm going to get hate in the chat from people who don't know that we're talking football, and everything that we talk about has to be about criticizing football things. We don't get personal on this team. We love Prime and we love this team. So,
hey, Harry.
Yes, sir.
I can't lie. I wanted to add on to some of that. You talk about just running the ball. Why not just take your starters out? Congratulate them. The best way to congratulate a starter at the end of a game is to have them be able to stand on the sideline with their helmet off, holding the collar of their shoulder pads, talking to the guys, cheering on the backups. And why not give the backup a chance, to get out there and get some real live action? They've been busting their butt at practice all week. The starters can't do what they do without those guys. So why not give those backups a reward to get out on the field, because you don't know how many games you'll have this season where you can get those guys out there. So I think that would have showed a lot more class as well to get the backups out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. And thank you for making that point, because it matters. And that, I think that also works with retention, because you don't want to keep replacing 52 guys, 42 guys every season. You got to involve everybody. And when you have the opportunity, you do that. You let guys know that you are committed to them as well. And that will keep them with Colorado so that you don't have to keep replacing guys, because depth is important. So if the guys that are on your depth chart, the 2s and the 3s, if they don't feel like you're interested in their well-being because you don't make these decisions at end games, then these guys are probably going to decide to go to teams that are going to actually think about them when garbage time comes to put them in. So it's just something that we do, and it's just something that we say. We're just being, like Gerald D said, we're just being constructive. We're not being hateful. There's no hate in our speech. Some people just want praise. They don't want constructive criticism. And unfortunately, I can't help you with that, because I am critical on the team, because I know what it takes to win football games. So,
hey, Harry, one thing, diamond in the rough, number 23. Number 23 is a diamond in the rough. I'm telling you, freshman.
Who's 23?
Stockmeyer?
No, Augusta. He's the one that fumbled it near the end of the game.
Oh, Augusta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Diamond in the rough, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He needs to get his confidence up like Michael.
Yeah.
He gets his confidence up there. I'm telling you, man, he's going to be something. He's Hayden with more speed.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I see that. And it's up to Coach Prime. You got your diamonds in the rough. You got your guys around there. Don't make your people feel like they're dejected or they're not part of the game. If they make a mistake, show them that you're committed to them, because you're committed to your son. You're committed to Shador when he makes a mistake and he throws an interception across the end zone. When that's a boneheaded play, we all know that. You still commit to him because you trust him. These younger guys, you're going to have to commit to them, and you're going to have to build their confidence. We trust that you're doing that, but I hope that you are. You know what I'm saying? We hope that you're doing it. But all right, Ron, I appreciate you, man. Feels so real. I appreciate you coming on. Tim coming on. Warren G, everybody coming in the chat. Appreciate you, Wild Dog. I see you out there gifting memberships and doing what you can to hold your mans down. Ron, till you come on here and you hold me down, I appreciate you, man. You really don't know how much I appreciate that. I hopefully my words really let you know that I do appreciate you. I appreciate you guys for supporting this channel. And even though my schedule is changing, we're probably going to go to Tuesday nights or Wednesday nights, guys. And on Fridays, we are moving to Friday nights. It's not going to be on 12 o'clock anymore. Life is lifing, and I just have to go with the flow. Ron Tate, have a good night, man. I appreciate you, brother.
All right, Harry B. Take care.
All right. Son of Yahweh, salute to you. Wild Dog, Viral Authority, Gerald, Yardman, after the game, TH, I already said Son of Yahweh. Mike, I think I saw you in here. Oh, Obi, I didn't see you up, and hopefully you didn't try to come on. But Obi, I see you. Mike, I see you. DC Carson was in the chat, not on the panel today, but he got things to do. That's a busy man making that music in retirement. Man, I see you. VI, born and bred. What up with you? I know you was trolling me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I understand it. X-Men. It's all good. Surfer Boy 3000. salute to you for holding it down in the chat always. You got to come on the panel, man. You got to come on here. King P, I got your 35 to 24 CU. I got you on here. I got you. I got everybody who gave me a score. You can't really see it right now. Can you see that in the camera? There's a white piece of paper and the camera try to adjust for that. But I got you, Wild Dog. I got your score. The Terrell Will, I see you. Appreciate you. My Tie, I see you. It's not Mob Tie, right? No gangbangers in my chat, right? I'm joking. All right, everybody, man. I appreciate y'all holding your man down. All right, guys. Peace out. I'll see y'all, I believe, Friday night. I'm out.